Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Steve Malzberg Show, and it's heard everywhere on radio, on the web, on Newsmax TV, Roku, and apps worldwide. We have a very busy day today. There's lots of news breaking. We have a situation in Egypt where over 150 people are dead as government troops have moved in against Morsi supporters. We're going to do Malzberg's Media Madness with Noel Sheppard and Steve Lonegan, who won the Republican primary in New Jersey yesterday and will now face off against Cory Booker, the Democratic victor, in the New Jersey U.S. Senate race. And that election is just a couple of months away. So we'll talk to Steve Lonegan. But right now, another race of great interest nationally and especially in the state of Virginia, and that is the gubernatorial race in that state. And joining us is the Attorney General of the state of Virginia. He is the Republican candidate for governor, and we welcome back Ken Cuccinelli. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am hanging in there, which is all I ask for about 84 days out or however far out we are.
It seems like it's been going on for a long time, doesn't it?
Well, it always feels that way.
That's what I mean, I guess.
Yeah, the remaining 2.5 months sometimes seems like no time at all, and sometimes it seems like years. But, so much happens in every given day. Yesterday we rolled out our 6th policy. It was education, very positive, give parents control, especially where schools are failing, and some good policy to throw out there, and it's a particular problem for my opponent who really doesn't know how Virginia government works. So
no, I was going to talk about that, the 12-point education plan. I do want to get to that absolutely. How do you feel it's going on the ground right now? I mean, you're out there, you're talking to the voters, the constituents, and like I said, this seems like it's been going on a long time, and it's got a long ways to go. But where are you right now? Are you happy in the place that you're in?
Well, we're certainly outworking my opponent rather dramatically, and on the ground in particular. We lead in every facet of this race except dollars in the bank, and I would venture to say that we may have outraised Terry McAuliffe within Virginia. The reason there's such an imbalance is you've got this billionaire California environmentalist who's decided to spend what looks like about $400,000 a week.
Wow.
From now till the election. Wouldn't that be nice to be able to do? For your listeners, Virginia has no limits, and corporations can give. And critically for my opponent, so can unions. He's received over $2 million from unions. Again, that's out-of-state money that has come in, and Virginia's a right-to-work state. That's a real concern for a lot of us who care about freedom and who care about job creation. The policies they support are just not consistent with that, and that's where Terry McAuliffe has made his money. I mean, he's gotten rich off these guys. So to see them playing bigger than I believe they ever have before in any race in Virginia history, is worrisome.
Absolutely, and Steve Lonegan is going to join us later. Has already been talking about the same thing, that California and Hollywood are trying to elect the senator from New Jersey, and you're running into a similar situation. But let's talk a little bit about this label they put on you as an anti-science zealot, and we're talking about Michael Mann in particular, the climatologist, and but here let's turn this around if you want to. And talk a little bit about Terry McAuliffe and his green history and his electric car company. I mean, that didn't work out so well, and there's a lot of questions there.
Well, it isn't even past tense. It isn't working out so well. He's a 25% owner of it. He was the chairman of it. And, every campaign has a positive case and a negative case. So the positive case is why you should vote for Ken Cuccinelli for governor, and the negative case is why you shouldn't vote for Terry McAuliffe. Well, Terry's positive case was this car company. It was, hey, look at me. I'm the chairman of this green car company. I'm going to have thousands of jobs, and he said they'd be union jobs, of course, in Virginia. I'm going to take it to Mississippi. Now we're going to do it in China. And and I've got this other company, Franklin Pellets, down here in Virginia, where everybody's poor, or a lot of people are poor and they've lost jobs. And look at me, I'm a great job creator. Elect me your governor, I'll be your job creator too. And the problem for Terry McAuliffe is that we began to learn in the spring that it was all lies. It was untrue. It was overwhelmingly false. And so all they're left with is the negative case, is this attack and destruction of Ken Cuccinelli. And, I learn all sorts of new things about myself in their ads and in their mail that I never knew. And, that's difficult when they have the substantial money advantage that they do. But you were right. That's the direction they've gone. And because of the SEC investigation of Green Tech, this car company of his, the USCIS is investigating it. There are congressional folks looking into it, subpoenaing documents. We've never had anybody running for governor in Virginia who is under federal investigation before. So I have to think the voters of Virginia are going to be very uncomfortable with that come November 5th.
We're talking to the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, Republican gubernatorial candidate Ken Cuccinelli, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. And again, here's another, Planned Parenthood, who, from what I understand, is now getting a big break under Obamacare, la-di-da. Planned Parenthood is attacking you. But, you're not running away. And I think Republicans tend to make a big mistake usually in running away from the abortion issue and the right to life issue, because I think if Republicans, especially on a national level, would point out how radical the left is on what they, believe in when it comes to abortion, almost on demand, almost until, right up until birth, and even then they call it a fetus, I think Americans would be outraged. So you're fighting back.
That's the situation in my race, and he supports public funding, and as you said, abortion, as far as we know, up to the moment of birth, and he doesn't support parental consent, parental involvement in their minor daughter's abortion. And in Virginia, we've just had health and safety standards established for abortion clinics, something that I think there was room to compromise on where those standards landed, but the other side didn't want to compromise, and a pretty tough standard was voted on by our General Assembly. And I certainly think that if women are going to get an abortion, they ought to be in clinics that respect them and treat them with dignity. And my opponent doesn't even support that. So, like you said, the positions he has, not unlike some others in his party, are pretty radical. They like to attack me on this issue, and the media helps them because they just redouble what he has to say, and they never ask him to take a position. And in our one debate, Steve, he won't debate me. We've only had one debate, and there's only one other scheduled. I laid all those positions out, and he didn't say a peep, not a word. And the media didn't report. I never saw a single report that mentioned the subject. Not a single report, despite, as you point out, how radical his positions are.
All right, let's talk about two other things, and let's get to your education, your 12-point plan, without giving us obviously all the 12 points. Certainly educate. But certainly education, Ken, is. You hear the same old rhetoric, from Cory Booker, for instance, in his campaign commercials here in New Jersey. I see them because I live in New Jersey, and it was, let's treat teachers like the professionals they are. It's the same old rhetoric from Obama's campaign in 08, and from the campaign before that in 04, and the campaign before that in 2000. There's nothing new. There's nothing that actually works to improve education in the public school system, and you've come out with some very interesting, angles.
Well, and just to that point, many times before, in probably every state in the country, the elected officials have faced up to the fact that they had some shortcomings or another in the public education system, and they wanted to make it better. Okay, we all agree on that. But their solution is overwhelmingly simply more of the same. And that, as Dr. Phil would say, how's that working out for you? And, I think of education, even public education, as being about each child, not about the system in which we plug these children into. And if schools that are failing or subpar or don't offer children hope or opportunity can't improve quickly, and experience shows us that many of them cannot do that, most of them can't do that, then what do? Well, those children don't have a year to give, 2 years to give, 3 years to give. You let them get behind like that, they are behind for good. And so what we're doing is, especially in those areas where you have subpar schools, failing schools, we're going to put control in the hands of parents. And we're going to let parents start to dictate a great deal of their children's educational destiny. And parents love their children. Government can't do that, and it never will. And so we want to put control in the hands of the people who care the most and whose responsibility it is to educate their children. It is not the public school's responsibility to educate their children. It is the public school's responsibility to help parents achieve their responsibility of educating children. And so we're shifting the power in our system, again, particularly where we have perpetually failing schools. And as good as Virginia is, we have them all over the state. I mean, there's no escaping that.
And Mr. Attorney General, what I find very, very interesting is you're looking for 2 constitutional amendments, one of which would allow public funds to flow to students of religious schools.
Well, we have in Virginia what's called a Blaine Amendment. This is an anti-Catholic amendment that was put in the Constitution a long time ago, and it was to block money from going to religious schools because it was aimed at Catholic schools at the time. And, to our north and our south, Maryland and North Carolina, 2 very different types of states, they don't have that. And nothing appalling has happened simply because they don't have that restriction. And getting the Constitution amended doesn't by itself change anything in Virginia. You then need the General Assembly to introduce policies that provide more flexibility and control for parents. But we're trying to work on that track, as I mentioned a minute or 2 ago, at the same time. So we're trying to do a few of these things in parallel, again, to make a more responsive public school system that works better for our children. And frankly, that we set it up in such a way that we aim at rewarding our excellent teachers. We want to move in the merit pay direction and put in some systemic ways of doing that, which we focus on, and and shift the dollars out of administration for a lot of those.
Very, very briefly, one final question. Obviously, as it should be, it's state focused, your campaign and what you've been talking about. But is this in any way a referendum on Obama?
Well, there's no question that with the elections 1 year after, and we border Washington, people who want to send a message to Washington are going to vote for me in this election. And we've seen that effect before in Virginia. It's real. It's legitimate. And when you look ahead to 2014, because of the nature of the New Jersey election, one side or the other is going to come out of Virginia with momentum for 2014. I mean, if you think back to 2009, we were the first push back.
Right.
We were the first push back. In 2010, just in Virginia, we had 6 Democrat congressmen. Now we have 3, all in 1 year. And so the sweep rolled into 2010. And so, yes, one side or the other is coming out of Virginia with momentum across the country.
Well, listen, we wish you luck, and I hope you'll speak with us again well before the election.
Hey, Steve, glad to. If people could go to Cuccinelli.com, they can join in and help. We'd love to have that. Cuccinelli,
Cuccinelli.com. Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Appreciate it. Ken Cuccinelli, ladies and gentlemen, on the Steve Malzberg Show. All right, we're coming back. We have a big show ahead for you. Lots to talk about. Healthcare, lots of details now in healthcare, some of which are going to be we haven't even talked about yet, and Sally Pipes will join us. I mentioned Planned Parenthood getting a break. You don't know the half of it, but we will talk about that. And have you heard about the clown, the rodeo clown, who put on an Obama mask? And now it's like the NAACP wants the Secret Service to investigate this guy. I'll have some thoughts on that later on. All coming up right here on the Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Here's today's silver shortage update from Lear Capital.
Reports keep coming. The shortage is growing. Twice already this year, the U.S. Mint has run out. Last time this happened, the silver price jumped 40%. It's time to take advantage with this special offer from Lear Capital.
For a limited time, buy 20 new silver polar bear coins and get one free. The only 1.5-ounce coin on the market. It's minted with the finest silver, carries a government guarantee and is eligible for IRAs. The Silver Polar Bear is available exclusively from Lear Capital. But don't wait. Silver supplies are shrinking and availability is not guaranteed. This offer is limited to a minimum purchase of $5,000. Call right now. 800-634-0482. 800-634-0482. Call Lear Capital now. 800-634-0482.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Heart disease is the biggest killer disease in America, and this doesn't surprise me. We are addicted to starches, sugars, fatty meats, and salt. People who live in countries with little heart disease eat very differently. One way some people stay heart healthy is by following what is known as the caveman or Stonehenge diet, so named because of its similarity to the way our prehistoric ancestors ate. People who follow this type of diet live off local fruits and root vegetables and get their protein mostly from fish and wild game they shoot themselves. Now, since most of us don't hunt or fish for all our protein, here are some simple tips on how you can start to eat like a caveman, modern day style. First, fill up on fruits and vegetables. Eat them first and you'll be less hungry. Feast on fish, which is rich in nutrients but not in calories. Choose fatty fish like mackerel, herring, sardines, and salmon, which are rich in heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids. Get out and go for a walk. Remember, our ancestors were hunters and gatherers, so they didn't spend their time sitting in front of a TV or computer all day. If you live more like a caveman or a cave woman, your heart will love you for it. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thank you for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, question for you. Whose foundation, according to the New York Times, is, ran multi-million-dollar deficits despite massive amounts of money flowing in, is rife with cronyism, and has just had their website knocked offline? The answer is the Clinton Foundation. According to the New York Times, the Clinton Foundation. Wow. That's amazing. And here's another little ditty about Jack and Diane, about Hillary Clinton specifically. Hillary Clinton, you know, she's weighing in on everything these days. Well, here she was weighing in, talking about 1963, Jackson, Mississippi. Listen to cut number 26.
One of my early mentors as a lawyer was John Doerr, who argued pivotal voting rights cases for the Kennedy Justice Department. In 1963, in Jackson, Mississippi, John stepped between angry protesters and armed police to prevent a potential massacre after the murder of Medgar Evans. That was the kind of lawyer and leader he was.
Medgar Evans. She called Medgar Evers Medgar Evans. Now, I know I'm a nitpicker. I know I go out of my way to point out to you the mistakes made by the likes of Barack Obama. In the Jay Leno interview alone, he made 3 huge mistakes. Said Putin was head of the KGB at one point. Said they got the Olympic Games mixed up with each other, the events in those games. And said we have to widen our ports on the Gulf Coast. And then said Jacksonville, Charlotte, and someplace else up the East Coast. I know I only said that about him because he's black. And I'm only picking on Hillary because she's a woman. Imagine if George Bush said Medgar Evans. Or, I don't know, whoever might be running on the Republican side. Donald Trump, anybody said Medgar Evans. Well, it would be like Dan Quayle misspelling potato. Or Sarah Palin saying, I could see Russia from my house, which she never said. The media is strangely quiet, aren't they? When mistakes are made by, anybody with a D next to their name, anybody on the left. But the second someone on the right sneezes wrong or doesn't wipe their nose the correct way or misspeaks or says a word wrong, especially George W. Bush, who was an idiot, remember? Idiot. He was a moron. He was a dope. Then they get buried. Double standard. When we come back, wait till you hear what healthcare is causing now on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
My patients still don't know what Obamacare means for them. And how could they? There are already 13,000 pages of regulations, and the bureaucrats are just getting started. Obamacare will change your health care, and you need to understand how. There are hidden taxes and fines, big cuts in Medicare, even new regulations on what services doctors can offer you. Some businesses could get hit with a 40% additional tax on your health care plan. Please, get the Obamacare Survival Guide today. It's the best book explaining the new law. It's easy to read, everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere.
Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Are you at least 62 years old like me? Could you use an extra $50,000, $100,000 or more to live a better life? Then please consider the benefits a reverse mortgage can provide to you. With a reverse mortgage, you can have your mortgage payments stopped altogether and get equity out of your home to live on. And you can use the money to help you live a better life. How nice would that be, not to have a mortgage payment? Qualifying for a reverse mortgage is simple, since there are no income, asset, employment, or credit requirements. However, you must be 62 years or older, own your home outright, or have a very low balance on the mortgage, and be prepared to live in it throughout the rest of the loan. Call now for more information.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Are payday loans ruining your life? If you have 2 or more payday loan cash advances, listen closely. You may be eligible for a program that payday loan companies don't want you to know about.
This program will get payday loan companies out of your bank account and put an end to the payday loan nightmare. Call for free information and find out if Payday Loan Support Center is right for you. Payday loan companies usually trap you into paying rates as high as 700%. We understand payday lenders' tactics. Don't let them take advantage of you anymore. All you need is 2 or more payday loans to qualify. We can help even if you're behind in collections or have bad credit.
Internet payday loans qualify for this program as well. So call 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. The call is free and the consultation is free. Don't miss out. Call for your free information on payday loan relief. 800-250-5084. That's 800-250-5084. Again, 800-250-5084.
If you're a baby boomer or senior, please listen closely to this important message. Politicians in Washington are quietly plotting to decrease your Social Security payments drastically, and they want to do it soon. In fact, despite rising prices at the gas pump, grocery store, and doctor's office, retirees have received a mere 1.3% annual increase to their Social Security checks. Meanwhile, food stamp recipients have seen their payouts increase over 30% under the Obama administration. That's shocking. So when we stumbled upon a weird trick that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security checks, we knew we had to share it with you. To get started, simply go to SocialSecurityFree.com. Yes, it's true. You can take simple steps that could add up to $1,000 to your monthly Social Security payouts. Newsmax says SocialSecurityFree.com is a critical resource for anyone over 50. Go to SocialSecurityFree.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show. No. This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
Luke Perfect has worked at a Subway franchise in Maine for a decade.
Yeah, would you like any oil, vinegar, salt, pepper?
But he recently was told his hours would be cut to 29 a week.
It's very tough. I'm scratching by as it is with overtime.
Luke's boss, Lauren Goodrich, who owns 21 Subway franchises, says it's all because of the new health care law. Employers must provide health insurance to anyone working 30 or more hours a week. Goodrich says his small business can't afford that, so he's cutting hours for 50 of his workers.
Losing 5 or 6 hours a week, that's $50, $60 a week, or a couple $100 a month. That's a car payment.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. That's an NBC News report. I want to play another cut or two, and then we're going to get to our guest, Sally Pipes. This is one of the repercussions of Obamacare staring us ugly in the face. Is that a word? It's staring us ugly in the face, and it's ready to to go into effect to one degree or another on October 1st. I want you to hear how it's affecting these. You got now businesses, unions, colleges, all saying employees' hours are being cut over Obamacare. Here's cut number 35.
We spoke to almost 20 small businesses and other entities around the country. Almost all said that because of the new law, they'd be cutting back hours for some employees.
Anytime you see a warning, that's an on.
At St. Petersburg College in Florida, 250 part-time professors have had their hours reduced.
It has been the hardest decision that I've had to make, and I hope that we can work our way through it to a better answer than we're able to give today.
Part-time math professor Tracy Sullivan lost half her income.
I never thought it would impact me directly. I was stunned when I got the email.
Oh, but folks, don't believe what your eyes are telling you. Don't believe your lying eyes and your lying ears, because the White House, everybody rest easy, the White House says, nah, there's no indication that this is happening. Here's Lisa Myers, cut number 36.
The White House dismisses these examples as anecdotal. The president's top economic advisor told us he sees no systematic evidence the health care law is having an adverse impact on the number of hours employees are working. The administration says this isn't a problem. It's not happening.
It is happening.
Okay. And that's a union chief who just said it is happening. This is outrageous. Joining us now to talk about this and even more outrageousness with Obamacare is Sally Pipes, president of the Pacific Research Institute. Hey, Sally, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, Steve. And you?
Good. Great to talk to you. All right. Before you even weigh in on this, let's talk about something that we learned just the other day, and that is that the cost cap has been delayed now by Obama, and that cost cap, if I'm interpreting it correctly, means the most that an insured person, someone who has health insurance, could pay out of pocket. There was a cap on that under Obamacare, I believe, and now Obama, again, picking and choosing what parts of the law he'll enforce and when, has now granted the insurance companies, a year's delay in instituting that cap?
Yes, absolutely. That's a 1-year delay, and it's for those people who have employer-based coverage. It's not, apparently, at the moment anyway, for individuals. But, the cap was supposed to be $6,350 for individuals and $12,700 for families. So this is just another, Steve, one of the delays. And, it kind of slipped under the radar. This was a decision back in February, and it was only, released on the weekend in the New York Times. So there's that. There's the delay of 1 year of the employer mandate. There's the issue of no income verification for those people who will receive subsidies from the government for purchasing insurance in the exchange. All of these things, it's just one thing after another. Is it any wonder that the new poll came out today saying 47% of Americans polled think this law is a bad idea?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's not to insinuate that 53% like it. That's right. That's not the case at all. All right, so when you hear about from the report that Lisa Myers did for NBC News that we just played you, something that's been apparent and obvious and talked about for months by business owner after business owner, especially in the restaurant business and the fast food business and the hotel business, and now it's expanding to unions and colleges, and then the White House says, "Oh, we have no indication. This is just anecdotal." Of course they're lying, aren't they?
Well, of course. Red Lobster, Andy Puster, who is the head of Carl's Jr. and Hardee's CKE restaurants. He has written in the Wall Street Journal, been on television, saying that they are really changing the way they do their business because of Obamacare. Any employer with 50 or more employees is subject to the $2,000 per employee fine if they don't offer insurance. Of course, this is being delayed, but and full time is considered 30 hours a week or more. And so, was it any surprise that the head of the Teamsters and several other major unions came out and said, "Hey, we supported the Cadillac tax coming into effect in 2018, but now what does this mean for our members and their health care benefits?" The federal law says that the average work week is 40 hours. So there are all kinds of things going on. But the big issue is, I think, the American economy is not expanding. Small business, larger businesses are not, hiring new employees. And when they do, they're hiring them at reduced hours, say 27 hours a week rather than 30 to 40. And so this is really, the Obama administration is really not telling the truth, because the evidence is out there from companies and CEOs, union members, people in the educational field, that Obamacare is affecting how they are running their businesses.
We're talking to Sally Pipes, president of the Pacific Research Institute, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I'm disturbed by something Newt Gingrich said, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised because Newt Gingrich is now working for CNN. And like any good Republican hired by CNN, they either had to start out being a way to the left, or they kind of gravitate there to fit in with the CNN's idea of a Republican. And I would hate to think that that's what we could expect from Newt Gingrich on Crossfire when it begins in September. Having said that, Newt Gingrich was speaking at an event in Boston, an RNC summer meeting, and he said that the GOP has no health care plan. And he said that we're caught up now in a culture, and you see it every single day, where as long as we are negative, and as long as we are vicious, and as long as we can tear down our opponent, we don't have to learn anything. There is a plan. There are several plans. There have been several alternatives that the House has in waiting, that the House has passed. So where the heck does Newt Gingrich come out saying the Republicans are being vicious and tearing down their opponent and negative, and they don't have any plan? What is that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you're right. He's sort of gone over to the other side. One would hope that he would be, a counter voice to the regular people on CNN. But Steve, you're right. There are many plans out there. Tom Coburn had a plan. Paul Ryan, Tom Price has a plan. There are a lot.
Louis Gohmert has a plan.
Right. So there are a lot of plans out there. I think it's unfortunate that the Republicans can't get their act together and sort of stand behind, one plan, because I don't know if you heard on the weekend, but Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, when asked on a PBS interview, do you think this will be the end of the insurance industry? Are we going to a single payer
Yes,
Medicare
that's the
for all?
plan. Yep.
And he said, yes, absolutely. And I've always said that this is the long-term goal.
Absolutely.
Insurance companies are going to be crowded out, and we're going to be left in what I grew up under, a Canadian-style Medicare for all, and it's going to be a disaster. So Newt Gingrich needs to read my new broadside, The Cure for Obamacare, where there is a replacement plan. But the Republicans need to get their act together and really stand up and say, the American people don't like this. It is going to be a disaster. We don't want single payer. And, Max Baucus is right. There's a train wreck coming down the path.
Well, the problem is, Sally, most Americans don't even know what single payer means. What the Republicans
need Medicare for all.
Right.
Medicare
What the Republicans need to do is say, we are, as Donald Trump urged them to do on this show yesterday, and as some brave Republicans are saying they want to do, is say we are going to take a stand because this is the most devastating thing this nation has faced or will face, and we will not let it go through. So we will defund it. And then if, as Reince Priebus said, if the government gets shut down, it will not be the Republicans shutting it down. It will be the president shutting it down over this. And here's our plan. And then hold up a piece of paper that says, you like the donut hole closing up? We're closing it up in our plan. You like keeping your so-called kids on your insurance till 23, 25? We're doing it on our plan. The 1 or 2 or 3, you like no pre-existing conditions? It's on our plan. And make that clear. Make that plain. Why is it so hard for them to do that?
That is exactly why was it so hard for Romney during the campaign, the presidential campaign, to come out and say, what, I thought Romney Care was a good idea for Massachusetts. It's expensive. It's not working out. Therefore, I wouldn't want this for the nation. But for some reason, these people can't stand up. I mean, I think, you're right. I mean, we have to stand firm on this defunding issue, which Mike Lee and Ted Cruz, a number of Republicans are all, we'll be blamed with shutting down the government. It's time to take a stand because, as I like to say, if we do not repeal and replace this legislation in 2017, we're on the road to serfdom. There's no off-ramp. And we are going to be all subject to Medicare for all. And where are we going to go for our health care? People come from all over the world.
Next time I have you on, Sally, I want you to tell me all about the Canadian system, because I remember the first time I've mentioned this to you before. The first time I had you on, I saw your piece in the New York Post many years ago, and you were writing about the horrors of the Canadian system and even a personal experience, and that's what led me to you in the first place all those years ago. And now we're staring it in the face. So next time I'll have you on, I want to talk about that at length. But thank you, Sally. Appreciate it as always.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Sally Pipes, ladies and gentlemen. She, of course, president of the Pacific Research Institute. When we come back, a rodeo has a clown. The rodeo clowns at rodeos? I've never been to a rodeo, but, And the clown has a mask, and it's a Barack Obama mask. I can't begin to tell you, although I will, when we come back, what has happened. You would think that no president has ever been disrespected or made fun of, ever, in the history of our wonderful nation. Because what has happened to the clown, what has happened to the rodeo, what is happening in calls for investigations by the NAACP and others is outlandish. But we'll show you, if you're watching at Newsmax.com, we'll show you another rodeo clown mask that was once worn, and nobody batted an eye. All ahead as we continue. Yeah, you got to see this if you're watching at Newsmax.com. If you're listening on the radio or wherever, get to Newsmax TV and check it out, because I'm coming back. You got about 5 minutes before we do it right here on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Obamacare. President Obama's massive health care law is taking effect this year. With over 15,000 pages of regulations, few even know what it means. Now, the Obamacare Survival Guide by Nick Tate gives you the shocking facts about this law. It's a step-by-step guide on how you can protect yourself. Already the New York Times bestseller, every American needs to get the Obamacare Survival Guide and find out about the new taxes, hidden fees, fines, Medicare changes, business rules, and why doctor shortages are likely. Donald Trump says the Obamacare Survival Guide is a must-read for anyone worried about getting good health care for themselves or their employees.
So get the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's at bookstores, or get our special offer at Obamacare911.com and you'll save $15. Go now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com.
If your prostate is giving you problems and your doc says it's just part of getting older, be wary. Renowned physician and author Dr. David Brownstein thinks this is baloney. He's discovered a link between aging and prostate health and believes prostate concerns do not have to be an inevitable part of aging. That's why he created Prostate Revive.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Brownstein. I personally formulated Prostate Revive to include the most essential natural ingredients available to help promote a healthy prostate gland and optimal urinary function.
The producers of Dr. Brownstein's Prostate Revive are so thrilled with the positive feedback from satisfied customers that for a limited time, they are willing to send you your first month's supply free. Plus, call now and you'll also receive Dr. Brownstein's special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. For details on getting your free bottle, call 1-800-596-REVIVE. That's 1-800-596-REVIVE. Take control with Prostate Revive. Call now while supplies last to claim your risk-free bottle at 1-800-596-REVIVE.
Hi, this is Dick Morris. Obamacare is taking full effect this year with over 15,000 pages of regulations. You need to know how this law affects you. That's why you should get your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide. It's easy to read and the best guide to the new law. Even if you're currently insured or a senior on Medicare or a business owner, a medical professional, or really any citizen, you need the Obamacare Survival Guide. In it, you'll find about hidden taxes, fees, and fines, including a 40% tax on some health plans. I warned you about Obamacare. It's rationing, Medicare cuts, and will trigger doctor shortages. Now the Obamacare Survival Guide gives you the simple steps to protect your family. So get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. It's already a #1 Amazon bestseller. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 today by going to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
We're in the midst of an obesity epidemic, and I'm not surprised. The statistics on obesity mirror an increasing trend of eating out or ordering in. In fact, some people dine out every night, but eating in restaurants is one of the biggest enemies of your heart. When you're in a restaurant, you don't really know what you're getting, and the calorie counts of many restaurant dishes are astronomical. In fact, some single dishes contain more calories than we should eat in an entire day. Eating in fast food restaurants is even worse. A diet of hamburgers, French fries, and shakes constitutes a fast lane to the emergency room. If you really want to help your heart, get in the habit of cooking simple meals at home. Here are 3 easy tips that will make your food taste better than even the best restaurant. Choose the best fruit in season. Your local farmer's market is a great place to start. It will probably still cost less than that pie you were thinking of buying. Get in the habit of using fresh herbs. You can use them in egg white omelets or dust them on the fish you grill or bake. And for a light dessert, choose a square or 2 of dark chocolate that you and your spouse can enjoy. There are lots of ways to make your heart healthy, but there are also lots of ways to damage it. That's why I wrote Fix It, Dr. Crandall's 90-day program. In it, I'll tell you how to kickstart your metabolism every day, how to pick the best diet for you, how to stop hunger from sabotaging your diet, the 7 superfoods for your heart. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Heard everywhere on the radio, on the web, on Newsmax TV, Roku, and apps worldwide. Okay, so it was Saturday, and at the Missouri State Fair, a rodeo clown put on an Obama mask, and he was chased by a bull. And the announcer at the state fair, the radio announcer, was, calling it and saying, hey, what's Obama doing here, and all this kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, for Newsmax TV viewers, we have a picture of the clown with the mask. It's number 32. And it's like one of those Halloween masks. And he's got a cowboy hat on top of it. And he's got a leather jacket and jeans. And that was it. Okay? That was it. Now, here's the fallout from this, what you would think would be a freedom of expression, an innocent event. Aha, but this is Barack Obama we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what happened as a result. First of all, get this now. The Missouri State Fair said it would force all clowns to undergo sensitivity training. Sensitivity training. I kid you not. And the head of the state rodeo clown organization has resigned. Okay? Get this. The state commission went further, saying that it will require that before the Missouri Rodeo Cowboy Association can take part in any future state fair, quote, they must provide evidence to the director of the Missouri State Fair that they have proof that all officials and subcontractors of the MRCA have successfully participated in sensitivity training. So you got sensitivity training, okay? That's number one. The clown himself has been banned for life. Banned for life. And from what I hear is getting threats because he wore an Obama mask, okay, and ran around in a rodeo away from a bull. Oh, that's not all. We're not finished. The announcer, the man who called all this, as I said, was calling it and saying, oh, there goes, looks like President Obama running from the bull, whatever he said. He's out. First came word that Mark Fiken, superintendent of the Boonville R1 school district, and an announcer at the event had obtained legal counsel in hopes of clearing his name. He had become president of the Missouri Cowboy Rodeo Association Saturday morning, a post he resigned 2 days later. So 2 people's lives are now ruined by this outrageous political correctness. Can you imagine what we're talking about here? And we're not finished. I wish I was finished. The NAACP is calling on the Justice Department and the Secret Service. Let me make sure I got that right here as I check out the headline here. Yes, the NAACP wants the Justice Department and the Secret Service to investigate the wearing of the Obama mask. Now, first of all, in and of itself, this is outrageous. It's nonsense. It's dangerous. The White House said Obama has no response to this, but it wasn't one of our better moments as a country. Really? Folks, I could direct you to websites where there were protests against George W. Bush for 8 years, where he was called every name in the book, where his face was dripping with blood. He was in the crosshairs with a bullseye on his face. They made a movie about him being shot while he was still president. I mean, on and on. He was an idiot. He was a dummy. He was a moron. But see, he was George W. Bush. He wasn't the great Barack Obama, I guess. And he's white and not black. Let me put up a picture again for those watching at Newsmax TV, cut 37. I take you back. Noel Sheppard, who will join us later. 1994, a bull attacked let me get this straight, a dummy. They put a George H.W. Bush mask on a dummy. And some of you, those of you watching now, are seeing it. And they let the bull attack that dummy with the George H.W. Bush mask on it. That was okay. Nobody said anything then. Difference? Democrat, Republican, black, white. What other difference could there be? And then there's Erin Burnett of CNN. When she was at CNBC, here's what she said about President George W. Bush. Cut 31.
While Nicolas Sarkozy is in China, which of course is also trying to become a financial capital of the world, and in honor of his visit, the Chinese have announced $30 billion of deals. There he is. I mean, who could not have a man crush on that man? I'm not talking about the monkey either. I'm talking about the other one.
Yeah, exactly. What? The monkey? Who's the monkey? What's she talking about?
Wait. Monkey in the middle. All right.
I don't know. What is she talking about? Willie? You know, I think she's still jet lagged.
That's my president.
That's my president. That was in 2007 on MSNBC. Erin Burnett, calling George W. Bush a monkey, okay? And our friend Byron York at Washington Examiner points out in August of 2007, North Dakota Democrat Congressman Earl Pomeroy was caught on video calling Bush a clown. He later apologized. He was not banned from office. Instead, he was reelected for a 9th term in the House in 2008. As far as violent imagery of the president is concerned, the Bush years saw imagery much more serious, as I talked about. 2006, a film, Death of a President, was a, make-believe documentary that told the story of a fictional Bush assassination. Byron York points this out, as I pointed out. And then he gives much, much more. 2004, Checkpoint. Author Nicholas Baker depicted a conversation between two men planning to assassinate Bush. He's one dead armadillo, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not trying to be funny. 2006, Alan Hevesy, then comptroller of New York State, delivered a college commencement address in which he paid tribute to Democrat Senator Charles Schumer by calling him the man, quote, the man who, how do I phrase this diplomatically, who will put a bullet between the president's eyes if he could get away with it. End quote. But this man, this clown, wore a clown's mask, and it was an Obama mask. End his career, end the announcer's career. Let's have the Justice Department investigate. Maybe we could get him on civil rights violations. And the Secret Service. Maybe we could lock this guy up. A dangerous, dangerous double standard and a sick obsession with protecting everything Obama. I don't mean protecting his well-being. I mean his image. This is nuts. We're coming back. Steve Malzberg on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Attention seniors and baby boomers. A new website has been created just for you. SocialSecurityFree.com. At SocialSecurityFree.com, we reveal a weird trick that could help you add $152,000 to your Social Security payouts. For example, did you know how you file for Social Security can dramatically change the amount of money you collect? One simple step could add up to $1,000 to your monthly payouts. And other loopholes we found reveal 33 ways for big savings on your health care. At SocialSecurityFree.com, you will also discover how you could save up to 50% on your groceries, along with 49 other ways to save as much as $50,000 starting today. Newsmax says SocialSecurityFree.com is a critical resource for anyone over the age of 50. So go to SocialSecurityFree.com now to find out how you could add extra money to your Social Security checks. That's SocialSecurityFree.com.
This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks, and I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. You can finally have that room you've always wanted with our total basement finishing system. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again.
Call now for your free basement inspection at 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794. Learn how to waterproof your basement now. Call this number, 800-516-9794, 800-516-9794.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. We begin in Egypt, where the interim government's vice president, Mohamed El Baradei, says he is resigning in protest after a day of deadly clashes between police and protesters. Earlier today, Egyptian police pushed into camps where Morsi supporters were holed up with bulldozers and armed vehicles firing tear gas to disperse the crowd. Morsi supporters claim police opened fire with live ammunition on protesters in Cairo. The situation quickly spiraled out of control with live gunfire crackling through the air. The death toll is now believed to be at more than 140 people. Here's a first-hand account from a CBS News producer who was inside a Cairo hospital.
The floors and the walls of the field hospital are slick with blood, and the sound of automatic gunfire is unrelenting. As government snipers fire at the only entrance still open, there's a constant stream of dead and wounded coming out, mostly from live ammunition. The youngest I saw was a boy no older than 13 years old.
And within hours of the crackdown, security forces managed to disperse one sit-in outside of Cairo University, but there is also a second, much larger camp on the other side of Cairo that could result in even more severe violence. Tens of thousands of Morsi supporters have been camped out there for over a month, and despite repeated warnings from the military-backed government that they should leave. Meanwhile, not too far away, Israel and Palestinian negotiators are meeting today in Jerusalem for the first face-to-face peace talks in 3 years. Tuesday, Israel released 26 Palestinian prisoners as part of a precondition for the talks. The inmates were jailed on charges ranging from throwing rocks to carrying out bombings which killed civilians. The families of those killed tried to block the release of the inmates, but Israel's Supreme Court rejected their appeal. And in Louisiana, a deadly end to an overnight standoff at a bank. Police say a mentally unstable man took 3 people hostage, shot 2 of them in the small town of St. Joseph, Louisiana. Police identified the shooter as 20-year-old Fouad Abdou Ahmed. The hostage negotiations dragged on for nearly 12 hours. One female hostage was released during the standoff, but 2 others were shot by the gunman. Police say they had no choice but to move in, and when they did, the gunman, Ahmed, was killed by officers. And the federal government and 6 states have now sued to block the latest proposed merger in the airline industry. But analysts say for many travelers, that's too little too late. Yesterday, the Department of Justice grounded the $11 billion deal between American Airlines and U.S. Airways. The government says the merger could cost consumers hundreds of millions of dollars a year in higher fares and extra fees. And next up on your Newsmax Now update, a fiery cargo plane crash kills 2. An update from the NTSB on the investigation into what went wrong. Plus, following a new report that hundreds of U.S. missiles were stolen in Libya, reaction from Alan West during a Newsmax exclusive interview. Next.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at Aftershock911.com. Aftershock911.com.
What is Lignet? Lignet is knowledge. Lignet is power. Lignet is global. Top-level officials, U.S. intelligence officers, national security advisors, foreign operatives, all reporting directly to you. What is Lignet? Lignet is confidential. Lignet is sensitive. Lignet is security. What is Lignet? They're the ones taking the world's pulse. If you're not in the know, you're not on Lignet.com. You've been briefed.
According to the FBI Uniform Crime Report, there are over 5,000 robberies every day. Your home could be at risk of being burglarized. Don't put your loved ones and valuables in jeopardy. For just over $1 per day, your home can be protected from break-ins, fire, and more. Get the latest home security technology from Protect Your Home, your ADT authorized dealer. Over 6 million households sleep better at night with ADT monitored home security. What's more, Protect Your Home is offering you their latest equipment, an $850 value, absolutely free for qualified customers. Protect your loved ones and home today. Call now for licenses and to find out more. The call is free, 1-800-949-8201. That's 1-800-949-8201. Again, 1-800-949-8201. $99 installation charge, 36-month monitoring agreement at $36.99 per month. Payment by credit card or electronic bank account charge. For new homeowner customers with satisfactory credit history only. Local permit fees may be required. Certain restrictions apply. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
And welcome back. A UPS cargo jet crashed while it was trying to land in Birmingham, Alabama. Flames burned through a large section of twisted metal. Not far from that burning wreckage, firefighters located the front of the plane, and inside, both the pilot and co-pilot were found dead. The plane originated in Louisville, Kentucky, and was attempting to land before dawn. The NTSB has investigators on the ground now trying to determine what led to the crash. And during a Newsmax exclusive with former Congressman and Army Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, we talk about a new report that shows 400 surface-to-air missiles were stolen in Libya and what that could mean for the rest of the Middle East.
I view this as a very serious threat to the region, and our ally in Israel has to be very concerned.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for August 14th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
And welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Unfortunately, as we speak, all hell is breaking loose in Egypt. Egyptian security forces storming two sprawling sit-ins by supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi shortly after dawn today, killing dozens of people, igniting a wave of violent clashes across the country. We have reports of over 150 killed, many, many more wounded. And hours after the raids, Egypt's military-backed interim president declared a state of emergency, which imposes a nighttime curfew in Cairo and 10 provinces, and allows security forces to arrest and detain civilians indefinitely without charge. Joining us now to talk about all of this is Waleed Faris. You know him from Fox News Channel, where he's Middle East and terrorism expert, and he's the author of a great new book, The Confrontation: Winning the War Against Future Jihad. Waleed, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Steve, for having me today.
Well, it's my pleasure. Unfortunate circumstances here. Not totally unexpected, though, correct?
Not at all. I mean, you and I have discussed this a while ago, that the jihadists, first in Sinai and now the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, particularly in Cairo, have actually waged what I called in my book an urban jihad, creating those two fortresses inside Cairo and waging those attacks against churches across Egypt. Dozens of churches have been attacked, against police stations. So in order to respond, the Egyptian government, pressured by civil society, had to go in. And now, as we see, there's a confrontation.
Yeah, well, I want you to talk about that, because I was going to bring that up, and that is true. Churches and schools, Christian churches and, of course, and schools attacked by supporters of Morsi, the Muslim Brotherhood, and that basically goes unreported here in the United States.
It's amazing when I look at the mainstream media here, and then I look at the mainstream media in the Arab world, not talking just about Egypt, across the Arab world, across the international blogosphere. Everybody, France 24, Russia TV. I mean, it's a shame how American TV and American media in general terms, including the print, the apologist print, are not reporting. They should understand that 5 billion or 6 billion people are seeing this, but Americans are not given that chance.
Well, why do you think that is? I mean, you know, you're there in the media as much as anybody. Why do you think American media shies away from talking about, you know, the slaughter of Christians by the likes of the Muslim Brotherhood and their supporters?
Not just of Christians, but of secular Muslims, of liberals, of progressives, of police officers, of kids, rape of women, and what have you, because it's not the American media, it's the apologist segment of this American media, which is very concerned about the image of our foreign policy and therefore of the administration. It has to do with politics, because Washington has been the partner of the Muslim Brotherhood, and these partners are doing ugly things. So to report about it is going to have political consequences. But a real journalist will have to report about the fact and then say whatever you want in terms of evaluation. That's a failure, a big failure.
Yeah, and Waleed, we also, of course, have Mohammed al-Baradei, Nobel Prize winner, and he was appointed vice president in the interim government last month. He has stepped down to protest the crackdown by the army. So what is that? How significant is that?
Not much. His own political party, I was just watching on Egyptian TV, said we support the government, but he, as he has that Nobel Peace Prize. He cannot be endorsing any action of violence, including if it's against the terrorists in this case. So Mr. Baradei resigned. I think he will rejoin the process when the situation will be clarified in Egypt. He is not calling for the end of the campaign against the terrorists. He said, I cannot, as a person, endorse any police action, any security action. That's what his supporters have said.
Now, Waleed, there's consequences, and we're going to get back to the crackdown and what you see happening after this all clears up and what the future holds. But another area of concern, certainly for what should be an area of concern for us, is our ally Israel, and certainly a concern for Israel, and that is that missiles have fallen on the Red Sea resort of Eilat yesterday morning, and it came from the Sinai, and I believe it's been attributed to a group, or they've claimed responsibility, a group affiliated with Al-Qaeda, Ansar Bait al-Maqdis. I don't know if you're familiar with them. So,
yes, sure.
The instability, these rockets and these groups have attacked, in support of Morsi inside Egypt, but now we're starting to see a little more, aimed towards Israel, obviously outside of Egypt. How big a threat is what's going on in Egypt now to Israel?
Very significant. Ansar Bait al-Maqdis, the Arabic pronunciation, are nothing but jihadists linked to the rest of the Salafi jihadists operating in Sinai. And they have two links, one to Al-Qaeda operational and one political to an ally, Salafist, of the Muslim Brotherhood. And they have stated very clearly weeks ago that they're gonna wage a major campaign against the Egyptian army, and they started, but also try to shift the fight against the Israelis. Why? That's a smart move, quote unquote, on their behalf. If they start shooting rockets on Israel, what would the Israelis do? Shoot back. And then they will come and say, see, the Egyptian army is going after us and we're fighting the Zionist Jewish enemy. It is not going to work because there is a coordination, undeclared coordination between the Egyptian armed forces and the Israelis under Camp David. And both of these armies, without making it public, are fighting the same terror enemy.
We're talking to Waleed Faris, a Fox News Middle East expert and author of The Confrontation, Winning the War Against Future Jihad, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, so what is going to happen? Let's talk short term here when this purge, if you will, is over. Where are we headed? What about future elections, and what about inclusion of the Muslim Brotherhood as Barack Obama's government is insisting upon or urging? Where are we?
Look, the most dangerous would tell you Egyptians, and I have been speaking almost on a daily basis with officials and with the diplomats and with leaders of civil society, the most important people, actually the people who mobilized 30 million people to walk on the streets against the Brotherhood on June the 30th and July the 26th. All what they're telling us, look, we need to win our war on terror. That's the Egyptian war on terror. And after that, we're going to go back on track. We did not do two massive demonstrations to give it back to any authoritarian regime. They're going to move forward. There will be elections, presidential, legislative, reforms. But they told me, look at the mass of the Muslim Brotherhood in Cairo and what's happening in Sinai. We in Egypt know that we're going to be fighting those jihadists for a long period of time, even after we do our democratic elections. We're going to be like every country in the world that has democracy, but unfortunately has jihadists to fight.
When John McCain and Lindsey Graham went there and met with the Muslim Brotherhood and then made had their little press conference, the reports I read, and tell me if you agree or you've probably seen more reports out of there directly than I have. The people were not too happy. They basically were saying, chanting a lot of anti-American slogans in the streets and saying, take your aid, we don't want it. Did McCain and Graham do more harm than good?
Look, we need to understand what the Egyptians are trying to say. Most Egyptians are, with the exception of the Brotherhood, obviously very angry, very frustrated, not with the American public. They love the American public and people and citizens, but with the Obama administration, because it openly was supporting the Muslim Brotherhood regime, and now they're trying to save the political neck of the Muslim Brotherhood movement. And when our two good senators came to Egypt, they probably did not understand that there is an overwhelming majority of of regular people who do not want Islamist movement in Egypt or regime. So I think what they have heard was, we don't like what America is doing. They meant we don't like what Washington was doing, and that's a big difference.
All right, one final question for you, Waleed, and then basically tell me quickly after that about the book and how we can win the war against future jihad. But why? Why does Obama love the Muslim Brotherhood so much? Why did this administration, John Brennan and others, go out of their way, a long time ago to say that the Muslim Brotherhood, they're peaceful, they're not a threat? I mean, what do you see as the reason?
Long answer for that will be a book. Hopefully, somebody will
all right. Well,
write
give me the short version.
The short, that's a very, very badly advised from the president. I may say very openly, and many high-ranking officials of the administration. I know who is advising them in terms of research. It's published. Very bad advising coming from a Middle East studies elite in this country, which also tried to advise other presidents, other congressional leaders, and these are the results. This Middle East studies community has been influenced by petrodollars. So that's your long-term answer, which we will research further later.
And I bet it's going to show that the Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated this country at some of the highest levels, correct?
That is not a secret anymore, neither in this country. And wait just until the Egyptians are free from the Brotherhood problem. They're going to get us the mother of all information about the Brotherhood infiltration of the United States. It's going to come from the Middle East.
Oh, but the question is, Waleed, will the media even give a rat's behind about it? Will they tell us? I don't think they'll tell us, because it's there. They try to mock anybody who dares to talk about this now.
Let them stay in their ivory towers for as long as they want. The blogosphere, radio shows, people on internet are now getting most of their information. Let them stay where they are until their funding goes away.
All right. Waleed, always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. And again, the book, The Confrontation, Winning the War Against Future Jihad, it's out. Give me the abridged edition or answer. How do we win the war against future jihad?
By having the right coalitions worldwide and making sure that the Americans are aware of reality, being well informed.
Well,
that's in 2 words, well informed.
Well, you do your part on shows like this and on the Fox News channel, and we just need a lot more like you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Take care. That's my pleasure. Waleed Faris, ladies and gentlemen. It's scary. It's scary. And I got to tell you, look, the Muslim Brotherhood, when people like Steve Emerson and Andy McCarthy and others talk about this, talk about the infiltration of influence of the Muslim Brotherhood from their offshoot groups, infiltrating the State Department, the security agencies, having members, and people say, oh, get out of here. Oh, he's a nut. Oh, don't go there. You don't want to talk about that. Oh, Looney Tunes. It's true. I mean, Emerson and the others and Waleed Faris have names. You just heard what he said. Do you respect Waleed Faris? I mean, come on. We are turning a blind eye and the very future of our country. Folks, we are in such trouble. 855-777-9660. 855-777, as they say. 9660, right here on The Steve Malzberg Show.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Health insurance is on everybody's mind right now. You either don't have it or you have it and you think it's too expensive. And you probably feel like you don't have any options. We can help. We are InSphere Insurance Solutions. We offer health insurance plans from major carriers nationwide and likely have a plan that can save you money. Whether you're self-employed, on a COBRA plan that's about to expire, or you simply don't have health insurance where you work and you need it, InSphere Insurance Solutions can help you. Our agents will help you find coverage you can afford. InSphere Insurance Solutions is an authorized agency in all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. Plans may not be available in all states. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325. 800-980-9325.
Newsmax Magazine is proud to present a special tribute to our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. It's a very special documentary and commemorative issue of Newsmax Magazine celebrating the centennial of President Reagan's birth. First, here's a video clip from the award-winning documentary, Rendezvous with Destiny.
We're in the midst of a springtime of hope for America. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Impulses of an evil empire.
Tear down this wall.
I believe that together we can keep this rendezvous with destiny.
In the next several minutes, you will learn things about President Ronald Reagan that you've never seen, heard, or read before. Welcome to today's special Newsmax event celebrating the life and legacy of President Reagan. During this historic presentation, we will commemorate President Reagan's storied life. We'll revisit his 2 terms in office and recollect his proudest achievements and greatest challenges. Ronald Reagan's life reads like a fairy tale of success stories. He was an accomplished athlete, an honored veteran, a famous actor, the governor of California, and of course, our nation's 40th president.
He called himself a citizen politician and only entered politics when he warned government was gaining too much power. By then he was age 54 with a successful career behind him. Twice elected President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan was a contradiction to some, once a Democrat, then a Republican, a champion of smaller government whose own government grew, a fiscal conservative who failed to balance the budget. His critics mistook his affability for weakness, but behind the smile and the charm existed an extraordinary leader with unique skills and bold and revolutionary ideas.
We only had time to share just a few of the top defining moments in Ronald Reagan's presidency, but you'll get to see them all in Rendezvous with Destiny. By the way, the president's close relationship with the Pope is especially fascinating. You'll also learn how dealing with an alcoholic father helped shape Reagan's ability to negotiate. And if you ever wondered what the leader of the free world likes to get for the holidays, well, you'll find that out as well. So let's review today in this free offer. We are sending you a copy of Ronald Reagan, Rendezvous with Destiny, and the collector's limited edition of our issue commemorating the 100th anniversary of President Reagan's birth.
Right now, when you subscribe to Newsmax Magazine, you can own both the DVD and receive the special Reagan 100th Birthday Commemorative Edition. That's $25 in bonus gifts when you subscribe. Go to newsmax.com/Reagan13 to subscribe today. Join the millions who read Newsmax Magazine every month.
Breaking news and breaking hearts. Aww. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.
The statistics for blacks in America have always been bad. And now they are truly ominous. Clearly, we are in a dire condition, and the government of America cannot solve our problem.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know that voice. Welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. By the way, heard everywhere on radio, on the web, Newsmax TV, Roku, and apps worldwide. By the way, you could get your Newsmax TV app for your iPhone. Someone very close to me, I won't tell you who, just today said, I got my Newsmax app. I said, what took you so long? He said, I just found out about it. I put out an email yesterday to my list with all different ways to hear the show. I said, you just found out about it. Anyway, but I'm glad he has it. So get one for yourself, too. If you have an iPhone, it's free, Newsmax TV app. Go watch the show. But Louis Farrakhan, and that's courtesy of the right pundit, Louis Farrakhan talking about how black unemployment statistics have always been bad, and they're still bad. And he had more to say. And he zeroed in on President Obama. Let's go to cut 23.
I want you to understand this, brothers and sisters. You whose hope is in government to do this. Let me show you a little bit more. Even though we in 2013 are celebrating a black two-term president, despite all of our hoping and dreaming, Brother simply has not been able to repair the damage caused by centuries of racism, greed, which has now run this nation over a fiscal cliff.
Right. Racism and greed has run this nation over a fiscal cliff. It didn't have anything to do with that HUD settlement under Bill Clinton's HUD, led by now New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, where he insisted, as part of a settlement with a Texas bank, $2 billion worth of loans will be given to poor minorities who he admitted many of them wouldn't be able to pay it back. He admitted it was affirmative action. He admitted they'd never be able to qualify for the loans. So that's always that had nothing to do with the fiscal cliff we went over, giving loans to people who can't afford them. And by the way, we're headed down that road again. But notice that Louis Farrakhan mentions Barack Obama, but basically says, poor Barack Obama, he just can't fix 100 years of racism and greed. He's tried, but he can't do it. Let's go to cut number 24.
President Obama may have done his best to plug the holes of this fast sinking ship, but the fact is that when President Obama was sworn in on January 20th, 2009, the black unemployment rate was 12.7%. It now stands at 13.8%. Meanwhile, the wealth gap is now so wide that white Americans now have 22 times more wealth than the average black American.
Now, in this bite, if you listen closely, he actually insinuates that Obama might be able to fix it, maybe, but he won't. Here it is.
So even though one of our own has reached the pinnacle of American political system, his presence in that highest political office has not, cannot, and will not solve our problems. And our problems only appear to be getting worse.
All right, there you go. The analysis of the status of the black population in this country as we have a two-term black president. Louis Farrakhan not happy with the results. And he shouldn't be happy with the results. Okay, we're going to come back. We have so much to discuss with our buddy Noel Sheppard on Malzberg's Media Madness on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. You need to watch out because thousands of new Obamacare rules are currently being implemented, and few know what the law says or does. Listen to what Senator Max Baucus, one of the authors of the Obamacare law, recently said.
I tell you, I just see a huge train wreck coming down, and I don't see any results yet. I just see a huge train wreck.
He's right. So protect yourself from this train wreck. Get the #1 bestseller, the Obamacare Survival Guide. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law. Join more than 500,000 Americans who have their copy. Get the Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere, or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-625-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. So cancel the cable and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-625-MY-TV. Right now to sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-625-MyTV. 1-855-625-MyTV. Cancel the cable, cut costs, and get more. 1-855-625-MyTV. 1-855-625-MyTV.
If you need to lose weight and would like to get paid for it, that's right, I said get paid to lose weight. Just listen to the following announcement. The makers of GCE Green Coffee Bean Weight Loss are looking for real testimonials from real people and will pay you per pound to meet or exceed your weight loss goal. Until now, the secrets of green coffee's fat-burning power has been limited, but thanks to Dr. Oz, the secret is out. And now, this authentic green coffee bean fat burner is available in easy-to-take tablets. There are no expensive meals to buy or strenuous workouts. Simply take one tablet before each meal and record your progress. Only the first 200 callers are guaranteed to be accepted into the program. So if you're serious about losing extra weight and want to earn extra cash for fitting into your skinny jeans again, call 800-383-9230 now. Call 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230. Space is limited, so hurry and secure your spot today. 800-383-9230. Some conditions apply. 800-383-9230. 800-383-9230.
Do you have a motorized wheelchair or scooter that needs repairs and you don't know where to turn? Then call the experts at Precision Repair Network. They are the specialists in repairing all makes and models of motorized wheelchairs and scooters. You can call 24/7 and they will come to you anywhere in the United States. They'll give you a loaner to use until they return yours in perfect condition. And your repairs may be covered by your Medicare or your private insurance, so there is little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. If your wheelchair or scooter needs repairs, call this special hotline now and learn how you can get door-to-door service on your repairs at little or no cost to you. Precision Repair Network. They'll get you moving again. Operators are ready to take your call right now. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. 800-978-4813. That's 800-978-4813.
Where can you find the Steve Malzberg Show? Everywhere. From your smartphone to satellite radio to Newsmax Live TV to Roku, we have you covered. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time for one of my favorite segments of the entire week. It's moved up a day, but nonetheless, it is Malzberg's Media Madness. And joining us once again is our friend, the associate editor of newsbusters.org, Noel Sheppard. Hey, Noel.
How are you? By the way, it's moved up 2 days, but I know that we're all kind of screwed.
That's true. It is moved up 2 days. You know why? Because I'm off on Friday, so I'm all messed up. Even today is my Thursday. It's your Wednesday. It's 2 days. It's 1 day. I'm all discombobulated. But that's
I work 7 days a week, so I don't know what day it is.
All right. So let's talk first of all about. I did a little segment earlier on this, and you wrote about this. You have revealed this. You're the only one that I've seen actually put this out there. A report from the Philadelphia Inquirer, August 19th of 1994. Now, first, let me put up a picture for those watching at Newsmax TV of what's causing all the ruckus, the Missouri State Fair, where a rodeo clown put on an Obama mask. If you're watching at Newsmax TV, you can now see it on the screen. It looks like a typical Halloween Obama mask, which, by the way, they do sell in the stores, like Bush masks and Clinton masks and all kinds of masks. And you pointed out, Noel, in your piece at Newsbusters, let's put up now the next one, the number 37, that in 1994, they put a George H.W. Bush mask, and there it is at Newsmax TV. You're seeing it. A George H.W. Bush mask on a dummy who was chased around by a bull.
And a bull ends up attacking it. You know, I don't know whether you've ever gone to a rodeo. I actually have. And masks on rodeo clowns are very, very common.
Absolutely.
I seem to recall seeing, and this is just recollection, and of course, when you're at a rodeo, you do have a couple of beers, and it's hot, it's in the sun and whatnot. But I do recall seeing Ronald Reagan masks as being somewhat common. I seem to recall Bill Clinton masking. Again, this is just recollection. I'm actually trying to get in touch with various rodeo representatives to find out that this is totally common. It's a rodeo.
And
they wear masks.
You know what's happened here. I'm sure you do, but just for the folks, the clown has been banned for life. The rodeo can't participate in the state fair ever again unless all their clowns and people undergo sensitivity training. The radio announcer at that rodeo is at the state fair. He just had to resign his position as radio announcer and head of one of the organizations that he just took that position a couple of days before the rodeo. The NAACP of the state of Missouri is calling for the Secret Service and the Justice Department to investigate. This is bizarre.
Okay, and he's a competitor, and you may not like me bringing this up, but so far the best comment I've heard, Rush Limbaugh today said this is the way Muslim countries respond to cartoons
of the Prophet Muhammad. I heard him say that. I love Rush. That's okay.
And you know what? That's right. That's the way people are reacting. This is just a president. He is not God. He is not Jesus Christ. He's just a president. We make fun of presidents. We make all kinds of fun of presidents. But you can't do it with this guy because he's the Messiah. He's totally hands off. The left are going nuts over this. It's really rather revolting what we're seeing right now, but it's not surprising.
No, and the White House said Obama has no comment on this, but they said it wasn't one of our better days. And Byron York points out, in a piece that he wrote today or yesterday, that the movie, the pseudo documentary, phony documentary where Bush is killed, assassinated while he was still president. You know, and I know that the protests where they had the Bush in the crosshairs, Bush with blood down his face, and of course Bush is an idiot. He's a moron. He's the dumbest president ever. He doesn't read. He can't speak. And you got Alan Hevesi giving a speech, the comptroller of New York City at the time, saying Chuck Schumer would put a bullet between the president's eyes if he could. I mean, none of that matters, but you put an Obama mask on and the world collapses. On a
clown. He's a clown. This is about humor. We're supposed to be having fun. What I suggest is, now I think it's safe to assume that probably much of the anger here is coming from people that would never go to a rodeo.
Oh, sure.
Never been to a rodeo, so they don't know what happens at rodeos. There are clowns there, and they taunt the bulls, they taunt the animals, they taunt the audience, and they're always wearing masks.
Noel, this is only because Obama's black. It's racism, and that's the end. Period. Now, let's move on here on the Steve Malzberg Show to the next topic. You wrote about this one, and I thank you for that. We had Donald Trump on this show yesterday, and Donald Trump was victimized by Jonathan Karl at ABC. And I want to play you. I hope I got this in the right order here. I don't even know which order. It doesn't matter. But play cut 39.
You've said a lot of things over the years that people say just make you not serious. I mean, one of the big things is on the birth certificate. So what I'd like to do...
Why does that make me not serious? I mean, I think that resonated with a lot of people.
Okay, so Jonathan Karl, on his interview with for This Week with George Stephanopoulos with Donald Trump, brings up the birth certificate. Donald Trump probably wouldn't have brought it up, and you could tell me how he should have responded, but Karl brings it up. And then that night...
Not only brings it up, Donald then responds...
Oh, yeah.
Then says, but that's not my issue. My issue is the economy. I want to talk about China. I want to talk about how we're getting our butts kicked all around.
Donald Trump did not want to talk about that. It was obvious.
Did not want to talk about
then that night... On ABC News, World News Tonight, Jonathan Karl introduces his talk with Donald Trump and has this to say about Donald Trump. This is 38.
But it's hard to take Trump seriously when he's still raising questions about President Obama's birth certificate.
I mean, and you were nice enough to put the link to the interview I did with Donald Trump yesterday, where he responded to that, saying that Karl is dishonest and that people are starting to believe that the media is dishonest. This is a blatant blatant editing of the tape, if you will, but not even editing of the tape, just him personally, Carl, lying about what Donald Trump wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it appears that this is now, standard operating procedure at ABC News. If you recall, in January 2012, George Stephanopoulos at a Republican presidential debate brings up this whole birth control issue and the Griswold 1965 Griswold Supreme Court decision about birth control to Mitt Romney and grills him for 5 minutes until the audience begins to boo him. And this is what began the whole Republican war on women nonsense. So I think that clearly the media wants the birther issue in the public eye. Okay, they want to get Republicans talking about this, and they want to see people at town hall meetings talking about this. This is not about Obama at this point. This is about the 2014 election. This is about trying to depict Republicans as being racist. This is what we're going to be hearing now for. I mean, I don't think we're going to hear as much about the war on women. I think instead it's all going to be now in the wake of the Trayvon Martin case, and now with this rodeo clown and all of the birther talk at town hall meetings, it's all going to be we're all a bunch of racists. And it's just, Jonathan Call should really be ashamed of himself.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. We're talking to Noel Sheppard, Associate Editor of Newsbusters.org, and we're here on the Steve Malzberg Show in the little section we call Malzberg's Media Madness. And let's move on. I don't know if this was on your list, Noel, but I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. I just loved this piece that you did with the sound that you provided, and that is The Daily Show. And the guy who's filling in for Jon Stewart, John Oliver, and I got to admit I never really heard of him, and but nonetheless he ripped into Chris Matthews of MSNBC in a comedic way, but he got his message across. He started with Chris Matthews' bold prediction, which we discussed last week, where he said that Rand Paul will be the Republican nominee for the presidency in 2016. Here's cut 28.
I predict the hard right is going to take over the Republican Party in 2016, and the nomination is going to Rand Paul. You watch. This is what I do for a living.
Ooh. Really? Because all this time I thought you were paid to spit on a camera lens. But, look, if making sound predictions is what Chris Matthews does for a living, then he may have a bit of a problem, because finding sound bites of people saying things that directly contradict the claim they've just made, that's what we do for a living. So...
All right, now, then he goes on, and we put a lot of these together. He goes on here, and he gives some examples of Chris Matthews and his bold predictions of the past. Here's the next one.
Let me ask you about Rudy Giuliani. I believe he's not only running, I think he's going to win this whole thing come around the next election.
That's right, yeah. You remember him, current President Rudy Giuliani.
You watch Bachman. She's got the action this time. She stands for something. She's going all the way. She's going to win this thing. Really? I'll tell you right now, I predict she beats Romney.
It's what he does for a living.
And then, Noel, finally, cut 30.
Chris Matthews doesn't just routinely have egg on his face. He has a chicken copping a squat onto his face, laying an egg between his eyes, on that egg, punching the egg, and then rubbing it all over his face.
That was hysterical.
No, it's beautiful. Actually, conceivably, the best part of this story is, I mean, I'm the only one who wrote about, or I'm the person who broke that story about what Matthews said. So it kind of suggests that the folks at the news the Daily Show,
The Daily Show, yeah.
They're reading Newsbusters, so good for them. No, I love this segment. What's really interesting here, I mean, I imagine you don't watch a lot of Comedy Central, don't watch a lot of Jon Stewart. There's a lot of people right now that are thinking that Oliver, in his way, is better than Stewart. Now, I would say it's just because he's got a British accent, and we Americans are suckers for a British accent. But he really is tremendously funny, although he's further to the left than Stewart.
Yeah.
And he's been on now for about 3 weeks, I think, or 4 weeks. Stewart took off for the summer, and he's been a lot harder on Republicans, a lot harder on conservatives, not even close.
Well, yeah.
But This was good stuff. I mean,
kudos to you. This was, and I'm sure they did get it from you. And this was excellent stuff, and it was hysterically funny. And we talked about this also. I think when it was announced that Stewart would be off for the entire summer to go produce a movie or something, and it struck us as kind of strange that Stewart. I don't even know who's in charge of that show, but that he's secure enough to allow someone to fill in for the entire summer. I mean, that in this business, I mean, even a full week is a rarity.
Yeah, I mean, especially with what's going on with Leno and Jimmy Fallon. But I think that Stewart feels pretty cozy here. And I think that what's probably going to happen is Oliver's now going to get his own show.
I was just going to say, yeah.
And the people don't remember, Colbert used to be on The Daily Show. He was one of Stewart's, not flunkies, but you know what I mean, one of the sidekicks. So I think Oliver's now going to get his own show. I think he's a very, very funny guy, and they can use another half hour of good comedy on that network.
All right, let's move one step further here. The final story, and talk about Oprah. Oprah, just some bizarre things. First, she started off, she's plugging her movie, and she started off by doing an interview and saying that Emmett Till and Trayvon Martin are the same thing, exactly the same thing. Then she claims that she was in Switzerland and she was at this high-end store and wanted to be shown a pocketbook. And the saleswoman said, "Oh, no, you can't afford that. It's $36,000 or whatever." Well, of course, the saleswoman, has denied it. Oprah has tried to back off, apologizing and saying, "Oh, this is not a reflection on Switzerland, and I'm sorry I brought it up. I didn't want it to be a big deal," which, of course, she did want it to be a big deal. When Oprah claims racism at a store, it's going to be a big deal. And has the media reported that this saleswoman is saying that Oprah is not telling the truth?
I think it's early to tell. I didn't see anything on it yesterday, and we'll keep on monitoring it. But I think that we have to remember that there's a movie out with Oprah in it called The Butler, and it's actually called Lee Daniels The Butler because there was actually a movie made decades ago called The Butler, so they weren't allowed to call it The Butler. They had to call it Lee Daniels The Butler. But anyway,
right.
So I wouldn't be surprised if all of this, people are talking about Oprah as being a conceivable Oscar winner. That's saying that her performance is absolutely spectacular. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least if this is all just PR for the film. That they're trying. The more you're talking about Oprah and she's got a movie out now, the more likely maybe people are going to go to see this film. Because I don't understand why she would have. I mean, what was more reprehensible was her comments about Trayvon Martin and Emmett Till.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
To compare how anyone in their right mind, you want to say that you think George Zimmerman's a racist, you want to say that you think George Zimmerman shot him because he's black, that still doesn't make him Emmett Till, a 14-year-old boy at the time, I believe, who had the nerve to look at a white woman, and then the husband found out, and he and his racist brother went into the kid's home, took him out of bed, brutally murdered him, threw him in the river, weighted the body down. That's what happened to Trayvon Martin? Are you crazy?
Weighted the body down with barbed wire.
Yeah.
Concrete blocks around him wrapped with barbed wire, shot him through the eye.
And here's the shame of it, Noel, and I know you know this. Neither one of us are black, but it diminishes what Emmett Till means, what he stands for, what happened to him, how it could happen in America. To say that Trayvon Martin is for Oprah. I mean, Jesse Jackson, you could almost like shrug it off and say you expect it. But
Al Sharpton,
but Oprah.
Michael Eric Dyson, shrug.
What is her motivation? Was it to get people to go to her movie?
I think so.
Wow.
I do. I think that what you're trying to, unless she's really foolish, but I mean, Oprah's not foolish. I mean, what's peculiar about what we've seen with these two, let's call them gaffes, in the past week or so is we never see this from Oprah. She's a very, very smart businesswoman. She's a very, very smart entertainer. I mean, this woman seems to always step on the right dots, so to speak. This isn't what we've seen from her.
Right.
This is a very, very smart businesswoman. So I have to think this is calculated, and this is a way of getting. I mean, for example, remember. Oh God, who's the comedic actor who? Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank.
What did he do?
Well, this was the guy who decided he wasn't going to sponsor his own film. He wasn't going to push his own movie because it had so much gun violence.
That sounds familiar. I don't remember. Yeah, sounds familiar.
Anyway, what's
Jim
interesting in the movie is called Jim Carrey, and the movie is called Kick-Ass. Right. So what's happened is Kick-Ass they're expecting is going to do significantly better because of what Jim Carrey did.
Yep. No.
So maybe this is because movies aren't doing all that well. This has been a very bad summer.
No, very bad summer.
Although when you add up the total, it's all very. I mean, this is going to be a bigger summer than last summer. But the blockbusters have not done all that well.
No, they have
so
not.
maybe this is how you do PR now.
I guess, but if I tried it, I'd probably be thrown off the air. Not that I have a movie. Anyway, it was the control room who told me about that it was Jim Carrey, so I'm no genius. Anyway, okay, listen, I thank you, my friend. We'll speak to you next week.
Sounds good.
Take care. Noel Sheppard, ladies and gentlemen, associate editor of newsbusters.org, on the segment we call Malzberg's Media Madness. On the show we call the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Meet Jim. Like many of us, Jim enjoys a busy life. Between work, family, and friends, his days zip along. And Jim has the energy to tackle almost anything. But lately, Jim's get up and go has literally taken on a new meaning. Jim's always put focus on a full night's sleep, but it seems like these days, he's up and down to go to the bathroom so many times he can barely wake up in the morning. His prostate concerns have him sad, tired, and worried. Activities that were once enjoyable now seem like a chore for Jim. His golf game is at the mercy of his bathroom schedule. Family outings are planned around it too. Jim even has difficulty going to the bathroom. He's tried so many prostate remedies he can't keep them straight, and nothing ever seems to help. Then Jim found out about Prostate Revive, the all-natural dietary supplement specifically formulated for men, targeted towards improving and sustaining normal prostate function. Prostate Revive includes 15 super ingredients never combined before, including saw palmetto extract, beta-cytosterol, pomegranate fruit extract, selenium, and other high-quality nutrients. These targeted and all-natural ingredients promote healthy urinary flow and optimal prostate health. And the best part is, Prostate Revive was developed by a renowned medical doctor. Dr. David Brownstein personally formulated Prostate Revive with one goal in mind: to promote a healthy prostate gland. Thanks to Prostate Revive, Jim's got his life back. He gets a full night's sleep every night, and his friends and his wife can't believe he's the same guy. He has his old energy back, and no one has to wait for him. He doesn't even think about his prostate concerns anymore. Visit MedicSelect.com to take back your nights and improve your quality of life with Prostate Revive.
I love you, son. So it hurts when you say I hate you. I'm your mother. I'm tired of you disrespecting me when you don't get your way. I work hard to make sure you have everything you need. I should be able to ask you to get out of bed in the morning without a fight. So from now on, things are going to be different. I ordered the Total Transformation Program. We're not going to scream and fight anymore. I'm going to tell you what to do in a different way, and you're going to do it. You're not going to call me ugly names anymore, and if you do, you're going to get consequences that'll keep you from calling me ugly names. We're not going to do things your way anymore, son. We're going to do things the Total Transformation way.
Get the Total Transformation free. Just order the program, tell us how it works for you, and you can keep it for free. Call 1-888-577-9520. 1-888-577-9520. Call now. Call 1-888-577-9520. 1-888-577-9520.
Judging from everything you hear, you think all cholesterol is bad, but that's not really true. You need a certain amount of cholesterol to maintain good health. The problem is that too much cholesterol in your blood contributes to a plaque, a fatty substance that narrows the coronary arteries that feed blood flow to your heart. Picture your coronary arteries as a 4-lane highway. If one lane becomes blocked, traffic still flows well. 2 lanes, no major problem. But if a 3rd lane becomes blocked, that spells trouble. It's the same way with your coronary arteries. And when plaque slows their blood flow, to your heart. This can even cause a heart attack. The good news is that when it comes to cholesterol, lifestyle changes can pay off big time. Even a small reduction in plaque can be like opening up another highway lane. Suddenly, blood flow that was stalled can go forward again. Changing your lifestyle does not have to be hard. And in fact, here are 3 ways to help you start lowering your cholesterol. Snack on nuts. Nuts are probably one of the easiest and tastiest ways to lower cholesterol. Walnuts and almonds are among the best. Bulk up your diet with fiber. Choose whole fruits instead of a fruit juice, brown rice instead of white, and if you're eating a baked potato, be sure to leave the skin on. Choose fish. Fish contains cholesterol-fighting omega-3 fatty acids. I'm Dr. Chauncey Crandall, and thanks for watching this Heart Health Minute. Remember, it's never too late to prevent or reverse heart disease. Right now, I invite you to discover your own risk for heart disease or even a heart attack by taking my quick, free online quiz at www.simplehearttest.com.
The Steve Malzberg Show is just a bit different from the other radio shows. We have TV cameras. Watch the show at Newsmax.com or listen on your favorite radio station. Here's Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Coming up, for those of you sticking with us in the next hour, Susan Ferrecchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent, Washington Examiner, Rich Lowry, editor of the National Review, and Steve Lonegan, who is now running against Cory Booker to see who will be the next senator from the great state of New Jersey. This report is now circulating that, turning to baseball, you like that segue? Turning to baseball, Alex Rodriguez of the New York Yankees, who have now won several games in a row since his return, he plans to sue Major League Baseball in federal court next month if his suspension related to the league's latest performance-enhancing drug scandal is not lifted. This according to TMZ. He's facing a 211-game suspension. Now, he's appealed this under the basic agreement. I don't know that there's going to be a resolution of this by next month, so I don't know what this means if it's not lifted by next month. And I don't know what lifted means. A-Rod's going to be suspended. I don't believe the arbitrator will decide to keep the 211-game suspension. I believe they'll probably give him 100 games or something along those lines. So is A-Rod going to sue in federal court and have everything put on the table for everyone to see? All the proof, quote-unquote, that baseball has? Is he willing to put that out there? The alleged lies, the alleged use? I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's bluffing. Who knows? Maybe this is an attempt to intimidate the arbitrator. I don't know. But it's going to be very, very interesting. That much I could tell you. Okay, so we're coming back. 855-777-9660 on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show. You've heard the allegations on the news, and during the big game, pro football players have been using deer antler velvet to get a competitive edge. Banned at the London Games for its performance-enhancing qualities. Forbidden in major sports leagues for being an unfair advantage to athletes. Deer antler velvet is now in stock and available to try for free for a limited time only. Athletes have been using it for years for increased strength, increased endurance, muscle mass stress reduction, and yes, greatly enhanced libido. Everyone's talking about this miracle substance so powerful, it's being banned by professional sports organizations, but for a limited time, it's being made available to the general public. Best of all, you can try it for free by calling 800-678-5153. That's right, get Superior Velvet for free. If you're looking to boost your performance on the field and between the sheets, get the most powerful, proven product used by athletes for years now for free. Claim your free bottle today by calling 800-678-5153. That's 800-678-5153. Again, 800-678-5153.
150 million people suffer from headaches. All you want is for the pounding in your head to stop. Migralex stops the pounding. Migralex was developed by a neurologist and founder of the New York Headache Center.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Malzberg. After studying and researching the human brain for 25 years, I've developed Migralex, which eliminates pounding headaches. It works for my patients, and I'm so convinced it will work for you. I don't just guarantee it, I put my name on it.
Dr. Malzberg's Migralex gets rid of headaches fast without harsh caffeine, sodium, or preservatives.
Migralex works unbelievably fast, and it's gentle on my stomach.
Find out how to get your free bottle of Migralex. Call 800-532-2967. Plus, if you're one of the first 100 callers, you'll also receive the Migralex Quick Tips to Headache Relief absolutely free. That's 800-532-2967. Or go to migralexrelief.com. MIGRALEX relief.com. Or call 800-532-2967.
Hello and welcome to your Newsmax Now update. I'm John Bachman. We begin in Egypt, where the interim government's vice president, Mohamed El Baradei, says he is resigning in protest after a day of deadly clashes between police and protesters. Earlier today, Egyptian police pushed into camps where Morsi supporters were holed up with bulldozers and armed vehicles firing tear gas to disperse the crowd. Morsi supporters claim police opened fire with live ammunition on protesters in Cairo. The situation quickly spiraled out of control with live gunfire crackling through the air. The death toll is now believed to be at more than 140 people. Here's a first-hand account from a CBS News producer who was inside a Cairo hospital.
The floors and the walls of the field hospital are slick with blood, and the sound of automatic gunfire is unrelenting. As government snipers fire at the only entrance still open, there's a constant stream of dead and wounded coming out, mostly from live ammunition. The youngest I saw was a boy no older than 13 years old.
And within hours of the crackdown, security forces managed to disperse one sit-in outside of Cairo University, but there is also a second, much larger camp on the other side of Cairo that could result in even more severe violence. Tens of thousands of Morsi supporters have been camped out there for over a month, and despite repeated warnings from the military-backed government that they should leave. Meanwhile, not too far away, Israel and Palestinian negotiators are meeting today in Jerusalem for the first face-to-face peace talks in 3 years. Tuesday, Israel released 26 Palestinian prisoners as part of a precondition for the talks. The inmates were jailed on charges ranging from throwing rocks to carrying out bombings which killed civilians. The families of those killed tried to block the release of the inmates, but Israel's Supreme Court rejected their appeal. And in Louisiana, a deadly end to an overnight standoff at a bank. Police say a mentally unstable man took 3 people hostage, shot 2 of them in the small town of St. Joseph, Louisiana. Police identified the shooter as 20-year-old Fouad Abdou Ahmed. The hostage negotiations dragged on for nearly 12 hours. One female hostage was released during the standoff, but 2 others were shot by the gunman. Police say they had no choice but to move in, and when they did, the gunman, Ahmed, was killed by officers. And the federal government and 6 states have now sued to block the latest proposed merger in the airline industry. But analysts say for many travelers, that's too little too late. Yesterday, the Department of Justice grounded the $11 billion deal between American Airlines and U.S. Airways. The government says the merger could cost consumers hundreds of millions of dollars a year in higher fares and extra fees. And next up on your Newsmax Now update, a fiery cargo plane crash kills 2. An update from the NTSB on the investigation into what went wrong. Plus, following a new report that hundreds of U.S. missiles were stolen in Libya, reaction from Alan West during a Newsmax exclusive interview. Next.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, all while you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, investments, and home's value. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer, who was the only expert to predict the recession, has released a startling video with shocking evidence that the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Watch it at AftershockVideo.com. AftershockVideo.com.
Obamacare. More than $1 trillion in new costs. Hidden taxes, fees, big Medicare cuts, doctor shortages. How can we survive?
To know Obamacare is to survive Obamacare. The Obamacare Survival Guide tells you everything you need to know to protect yourself, your family, your business. The Obamacare Survival Guide at bookstores everywhere. Special internet-only offer right now at Obamacare911.com.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-1530. That's 800-460-1530. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-1530. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
And welcome back. A UPS cargo jet crashed while it was trying to land in Birmingham, Alabama. Flames burned through a large section of twisted metal. Not far from that burning wreckage, firefighters located the front of the plane, and inside, both the pilot and co-pilot were found dead. The plane originated in Louisville, Kentucky, and was attempting to land before dawn. The NTSB has investigators on the ground now trying to determine what led to the crash. And during a Newsmax exclusive with former Congressman and Army Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, we talk about a new report that shows 400 surface-to-air missiles were stolen in Libya and what that could mean for the rest of the Middle East.
I view this as a very serious threat to the region, and our ally in Israel has to be very concerned.
And to see more of our exclusive interviews and content, stay with Newsmax.com. This has been your Newsmax Now update for August 14th. I'm John Bachman. Now here's the Steve Malzberg Show in New York.
Are you ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Broadcasting live from the Newsmax studios, this is the Steve Malzberg Show. Be a part of the action by calling 855-777-9660. That's 855-777-9660. Or email Steve at malzbergshow@newsmax.com. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. And, of course, it's heard everywhere on radio, on the web, on Newsmax TV, Roku, and on apps worldwide. And we're glad to have you aboard. Congress may be in recess, but that doesn't mean that the news takes a vacation. And we're about to be joined momentarily by Susan Ferrecchio, Chief Congressional Correspondent for the Washington Examiner. And as I look at stories that have broken today from CBS News, we see that 3 more weapons from Fast and Furious have turned up at crime scenes in Mexico as the toll from the operation grows. According to Justice Department documents obtained by CBS News, all 3 guns are Wasser 10 7.62 caliber Romanian rifles. 2 were purchased by Fast and Furious suspect Uriel Petrino in May and July of 2010. Sean Stewart, who was convicted on gun charges in July of 2012, purchased a 3rd. The rifles were traced yesterday to the Lone Wolf Gun Shop in Glendale, Arizona. So, this continues to be a scandal. This continues to be something that should be of concern to people. But again, it's you start sounding like the boy who cried wolf when you start to, or in the case of Wolf Blitzer, wolf. But when you keep bringing up, Fast and Furious. Who wants to hear about Fast and Furious? Benghazi. Who wants to hear about Benghazi? IRS. Enough already with the IRS. Well, it's scandal fatigue. And when you have a media that isn't talking about it, then when you hear it from, select people like me and maybe some of your conservative friends or whatnot, or other conservative sites and talk show hosts, the tendency from people who kind of like the Obama administration is to bring that up immediately and say, get out of here. This, you got that. All you do is complain. That's because there's so much to complain about. That's because there's absolutely so much to complain about and to be concerned about. And, of course, yesterday we had the news from, an attorney representing one of the whistleblowers in the Benghazi affair, that Benghazi, according to him, Joe DeGeneva, who's the attorney, he told WMAL radio that it's all about surface-to-air missiles. A few hundred of them that were supposed to go to the Syrian rebels that now have apparently fallen into the wrong hands. And there's a big fear, according to him, that a U.S. passenger jet or a passenger airliner from another country could be shot down, and that the embassy closings of the past week or so or a couple of weeks ago were instigated by fears that the al-Qaeda attack would use these surface-to-air missiles to launch missiles at the embassies involved. And instead, I'm watching CNN and I'm watching Wolf Blitzer lead his show at 5 o'clock talking about the UPS cargo plane crash, which may they rest in peace, killed 2 people. It's a cargo plane crash that killed 2 people. I understand that's a terrible loss of life in a plane crash, and it's a tragedy. But look at all we're talking about on this show every single day. How could the cargo plane crash from UPS be anything more than, a minor story leading into a break or in some segment later in any show? How could that be the top story? Not to mention Egypt, which we've talked about. All right, are we close to Susan, or we're not going to get Susan, or something happened? It's kind of unusual that we don't have her. So, okay. I will take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to right now, you see, this is what we're going to do. This is live radio, so I will search, and I will put in S, okay, and I will email her right now, if there it is, unless I screwed up the time, trying to reach you now. All right. Now, wherever she is, hopefully she'll get that. In the meantime, some of the things I wanted to talk about with Susan, and hopefully we'll get a chance to get her input. When we had Byron York, also from the Washington Examiner, chief political correspondent, he mentioned that some are now speculating that with all the focus on Obamacare and the debate over to defund it or not to defund it, that there's a chance that immigration reform will not be talked about at these town hall meetings because people are so enraged about Obamacare, and many constituents around the country think and have heard, so therefore they think, that there's no way immigration reform is going to pass, that the House is even going to take it up, that it's going to happen, when in fact that's not the case. And Byron York seems to be of the opinion that, and some others, that because immigration reform will not be brought up as a topic of main concern at these town hall forums, and because constituents are not, using that as a rallying cry, instead they're using health care, the Congress, especially the leadership in the House, will say, hey, we were home for a month. All we heard about was Obamacare. So we're gonna do this immigration thing, and we're gonna get the Hispanic vote back. And the media will love us, and Hispanics will love us, and they're gonna think we're good guys. Gee, Willie Golly, oh gee. And I'm afraid that this could happen. I am afraid. Who did I ask after we had on Byron York? I put this to, I don't know if it was to Louis Gohmert. I put it to someone else who agreed that this is a distinct possibility. So it's incumbent upon you folks out there, if you feel strongly about, immigration reform, that it should not happen, that we should not have amnesty, that we should not legalize tens of millions of people to come into this country. I know, people smarter than I say, oh, it's going to help the economy. These people will come out of the shadows and pay taxes. You know what? I don't care if they're high-skilled. I don't care if they're low-skilled. If there are no full-time jobs and no part-time jobs for 40% unemployment rate for black teenagers, okay? That's part-time jobs. You know the deal with full-time jobs. If there are no jobs for Americans now, what are we going to do with 20 more million people coming in looking for jobs, high-skilled and low-skilled? That's a good idea? What do you want to do to America? But my point is, if you feel strongly about not having immigration reform or amnesty, you better start calling your congressional offices. If you know their number, in your district, call them there. But in Washington, if I'm not mistaken, guys, one of you dial this who's not busy in there, 202-224-3121. I'm pretty sure that's it. 202-224-3121. And you'll get the Capitol switchboard. And you could ask for any senator and any congressman you want, and you could get to their office, be polite, and if that's what you want to do, weigh in on an issue and say, I hope this congressman doesn't or senator doesn't vote for immigration reform, if that's what you feel. It works? The number checks out? Yeah, it's ringing. Well, okay, just see if the Capitol switchboard picks up. I'm pretty sure that's the number. 202-224-3121. Really? That's weird. All right, I'm going to have to get you that correct number. I'm going to try to get you that correct number. All right, we're going to take a break right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to try to salvage Susan Ferrecchio. Not sure why we're not salvaging her, where she could possibly be. What could possibly be more important than being here with me and you on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction to alcohol or drugs, then you must listen to this message, because there is hope. No matter what addiction you or your loved one is coping with, you are just one phone call away from real help. Recovery Hotline makes the healing process simple and affordable by matching people to fully certified and experienced inpatient facilities that are right for their personal situations. Call 800-668-1286 now. Don't wait another day. Money does not have to be an issue. Most insurance is accepted. Just call 800-668-1286 today. Recovery Hotline's mission is to help you or someone you love begin the healing process and get back a healthy and sober life. And we can even help with family interventions and travel arrangements. One phone call is all it takes to get back the life you or your loved one deserves. The call is free. The help is real. Call 800-668-1286. That's 800-668-1286. 800-668-1286. Again, 800-668-1286.
Tired of calls, levies, and liens from the IRS, or hiring others who don't get the job done? Call Wall & Associates and you'll never talk to the IRS again. The IRS has a program to eliminate tax debt, and Wall & Associates professionals are trained to maximize its benefits for you. You always speak with a live person with real support and real knowledge. We've helped thousands of taxpayers like you settle their tax debt with the IRS for a fraction of what they owe. We solve tax problems. Call Wall & Associates now. 800-574-6029. We have the professionals who know how to solve tax problems. If you owe money to the IRS, your tax problems are not going away by themselves, and the passage of time will only make matters worse. Act now, before it's too late. Call Wall & Associates right now to speak to a professional tax relief agent. Call 800-574-6029. That's 800-574-6029. Again, 800-574-6029.
Obama wants your money, and he's determined to get it. He wants your money to buy off unions, his Wall Street cronies, and to expand the Obama welfare nation. Well, Swiss America is determined to stop him from stealing your money. They want to send you an award-winning film, I Want Your Money, on DVD that exposes his plan. It'll help keep the government's hands off your money using gold, silver, and other hard asset strategies to protect your hard-earned money. Call today and request the DVD, I Want Your Money, normally $19.95, yours absolutely free. Let Swiss America show you how to use gold, silver, and other hard assets to protect your hard-earned money. Call now. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. Call Swiss America right now. Learn all about investing in gold. 800-978-3907. That's 800-978-3907. Call right now. If you are successful at what you do, whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a business owner, or you have a great career, you understand the concept of protecting yourself. Well, are you protecting yourself, your family, and your assets with quality term life insurance? Consider these possible rates. A man age 45, non-tobacco user could obtain $1 million of coverage for as little as $75 a month, and this rate is fixed for the next 10 years. We specialize in policy policies of $500,000 and above. A man age 50, non-tobacco user may be able to obtain $500,000 of coverage for as little as $115 a month. And this rate is fixed for the next 20 years. We have great rates for smokers, too. Call the Term Lifeline now. 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309, 800-430-1309.
Sure, Steve might be a bit of a hypochondriac, but he never gets sick of breaking news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show. Call Steve at 1-855-777-9660. That's 1-855-777-9660. Here's Steve.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Okay, we're going to have to put Susan on to another day because we don't know where she is, but that's fine. Something must have come up. But also, I want to let you know that, yes, I was right. My number that I gave to you all to call the congressional switchboard is correct. However, right now there's a problem with it. So I called. Here's the number. Either number is this. She said to me, it's the same. It's the same switchboard. Well, I told her that several of us have tried from different phones, and one of the numbers, for some reason, says you call can't be completed as dialed. She said, really? I said, yeah. So I just notified the congressional switchboard in Washington, D.C., that there might be something wrong with reaching them on one of their lines. Now, here's the numbers. 202-224-3121. As I said, 202-224-3121. Right now, that's not working. So the alternate number, which gets you to the same place, and I've just been informed that this is the alternate number, 202-225-3121. That's what I actually called her on because I thought maybe I was wrong with 224. She said, no, they're both the same number. But I told her one wasn't working. So 202-225-3121. We know that's working now. And 202-224-3121. That should work later. But it's the same, gets you to the same place. All right, we got that bit of bookkeeping done. One thing I did want to address about immigration reform with Susan Ferrecchio was the statement by Marco Rubio, who said on Tuesday that if Congress doesn't pass comprehensive immigration reform next year, then Barack Obama might be, quote-unquote, tempted to legalize all the illegals by executive order. Do I put that past Barack Obama? Absolutely not. Does that mean that the Republicans in the House should have a part in doing it? If because they're afraid that our president would to undertake something. Executive orders come and they go, and they could be dangerous, and there have been many controversial ones, but to sign an executive order legalizing tens of millions, even if it's 11, 12 million illegals in this country, would be unprecedented, I think. And he could get away with it, I guess, unless somebody has standing to go fight it in court. And I'm sure that a lot of people might have standing, claiming it could cause economic hardship for their business or this or the healthcare system or whatever. Or Congress might be able to. I'm not sure. I'm not a legal scholar here. Not a governmental legal mind either. But my point is, that's no reason to do it, Senator Rubio. I mean, you could say that about a lot of things. The president has threatened. The president basically ran this time around saying, we can't wait. Remember that one, Senator Rubio? We can't wait, the president would say. And that was about many issues that he felt were important for the Congress to take action on. So if we're going to worry about an imperial president who is going to rule by ruling enough is scary enough, but rule by dictate through executive order on major policy issues, and to prevent that or avert that, you're going to say, let's capitulate to him because he'll do it anyway? I don't like that. I don't like that. Now, I'm reading here there is a precedent for such a move by the White House, according to Rubio. And You remember what he did with the DREAM Act, the 2012 decision to temporarily halt deportation of some illegals after the DREAM Act was not passed. So again, that's another example of how he picked and chose what portions of the law to enforce or not enforce. And he's since done it many more times. So we have a president who's doing some unprecedented and illegal stuff, according to Mike Mulcahy, the former Attorney General, according to Paul Callan, who sat here yesterday, CNN legal analyst, that picking and choosing what parts of laws that are on the books to enforce and choosing not to enforce parts of those laws and making that policy is, in fact, against the law. But you don't then say, well, if we have a president and administration that's going to rule like they're dictators, then we're just going to give them what they want because they're going to do it anyway. I don't buy that. You stand up and you make your case to the public. You fight it every way you can, tooth and nail. You hammer and let the public know what's going on here. You don't say, well, in advance of more lawlessness from the president, we better pass what he wants or there'll be more lawlessness. That's not the answer. That's really not the answer. By the way, Rich Lowry coming up at the bottom of the hour, and we could ask him about that as well. He's also going to talk about the cost, the true cost of Obamacare, and why what Obama can't admit. He wrote a great piece at National Review about that. What's the date on this? Was it today? It was a day ago, 24 hours ago. Okay. Here's a guy. Name is Ed Hunter, and he was at a town hall meeting. I don't know who the town hall meeting was for, but here he talks about what he wants Boehner to do. It might have been a Boehner meeting. I don't think so. This is cut 5. This will be cut 5. Give a listen to this concerned citizen.
I want Boehner up there defying this guy and saying we're going to impeachment with you if you do not start obeying the laws.
The Republicans are too nice.
But listen, we're dying out here because you guys are being nice guys. This is not a Boy Scout meeting.
It's not, and you're acting like Boy Scouts. You gotta fight.
Because we're losing the country. I want to see more defiance. We've seen this dozens of times where Boehner will not fight, where McConnell will not fight, where Paul Ryan and the debate and for Joe Biden sat there and took it from him. And we're, the American people, putting our hopes on these people to defend us, and we get nothing.
Okay, so that's a man named Ed Hunter and an unidentified woman at an unidentified Republican congressman's town hall. I'm sorry, I don't have the name I should. It's my fault. I won't say my bad. I'll say it's my fault. But you could see how concerned he is, and rightfully so, and I think he reflects the views of the majority of this country. And instead of going with it and energizing it and organizing it and riding it, the Republicans are running from it as usual. One day we're going to have a debate on where this my bad came from. My bad. I saw a pitcher cross up a catcher the other day in a game, Mets game, Yankees game, and it was a wild pitch. It got by the catcher, and I saw the pitcher, tap his chest and say, mouth the words, my bad. How about my fault? Where did we get my bad from? What does that even mean, my bad? It's not proper English. I'm the last one to talk about proper English, I know. But it's not proper English. My bad. What can I tell you? I don't know where it came from, but everybody says it and back in the day. It used to be back in the good old days but back in the day. Also not proper English, I don't think. And what does it refer to exactly? Where did that come from? All right, we're coming back with Rich Lowry and then Steve Lonegan on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
Do you owe the IRS? Do you have unfiled tax returns? Have you received a wage garnishment or bank levy? Maybe a lien has been filed against you. OMG Tax can help you with all your IRS tax problems. Don't wait another second. Take action now. Call my team at OMG Tax. Honest and professional, we don't make false promises. If you owe back taxes, or if the IRS is garnishing your paycheck, you need help now. OMG Tax can help you get your life back to normal. If you're serious about handling your tax matter, call OMG Tax now and get the peace of mind you deserve. Don't let the IRS take your next paycheck. Stop waiting and call our team at OMG Tax. OMG Tax has a straightforward, no-nonsense approach and has helped many Americans resolve their IRS nightmare. Call OMG Tax now.
Call 1-800-255-6485. That's 1-800-255-6485. 800-255-6485.
Hello, my name is Fred Fleitz, and I'm the managing editor of LigNet. You've probably seen our name preceding some of the stories you read on Newsmax or heard LigNet referenced on Fox News, C-SPAN, or CNN. Perhaps you've asked yourself, what is LigNet? LigNet is an acronym for the Langley Intelligence Group Network, a private Washington, D.C. based service that provides global intelligence, in-depth analysis, and detailed forecasting. LigNet staff and advisors include former CIA officers, national security experts, presidential advisors, and top-level government officials from around the world. I myself held several national security posts for the U.S. government during my 25-year career with the Central Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, the U.S. Department of State, and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Our lead advisor is General Michael Hayden, the former director of the CIA. He is joined by former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations John Bolton and former chairman of the National Intelligence Council and Special Assistant to President Ronald Reagan Fritz Ehrmann, former U.S. Ambassador to Venezuela Otto Reich, and former clandestine service officer Frederick Russman. Former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee Peter Hoekstra also joined our advisory board staff. Every day, our goal is to use our expertise, our resources, and our worldwide staff to take the pulse of the ever-changing political and economic landscape and the threats we face on a daily basis. Whether you are following global events for your portfolio or business, or just interested in the world around you, LigNet provides what you need to know to keep up with global events. There are many. Every day, LigNet members receive the Morning Brief, a daily email that provides summaries and links to our daily analysis to keep you up to date on LigNet's assessments. LigNet members receive unrestricted access to LigNet's secure database of global analysis. All of our special reports, previous analyses, and exclusive video interviews with intelligence insiders are available to members 24 hours a day. But you also get top-notch analysis that resembles the President's Daily Brief, the classified intelligence assessment delivered to the President of the United States every morning. LigNet also sends breaking news emails to our membership list. If there is a development of global proportions or a terror alert, our subscribers are always the first to know. I hope you now have a better understanding of what LigNet is, but more importantly, recognize how truly invaluable LigNet can be. As the old saying goes, knowledge is power.
Join LigNet for $1. Go to lignet.com.
This is not your typical Screamfest talk show.
No.
This is the next generation of talk radio. Here is Steve Malzberg.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show, and I am very pleased and privileged to welcome back Rich Lowry. He, of course, is the editor of National Review and the author of the bestseller Lincoln Unbound. Hey, Rich, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's the book going?
It's going well, thanks.
Good.
Getting a lot of nice attention. I appreciate you mentioning it.
No, it's my pleasure. Okay, boy, we were just talking before you came on about Marco Rubio's warning on immigration, and that if we don't pass comprehensive immigration reform, well, Obama, he's gonna sign an executive order granting amnesty to 11 or 12 illegal aliens. So we better do it. And I just can't believe anybody would take that philosophy. I mean, he gave an example that he did it with after the DREAM Act didn't pass. He then started deciding who he would deport and who not deport, and which part of the law he would enforce and not enforce. And he's done that with other laws right up to Obamacare here, and now with the drug sentencing. But to use that as a pretext to say, well, if we don't do it, he'll do it, so we might as well do it, instead of as a possible presidential candidate and leader of the Republican Party standing up and saying we won't tolerate it if he does it. It just makes me sick.
It's giving into blackmail, and the appropriate response to the administration's lawlessness isn't to say, okay, we'll let you force us into adopting what you want to adopt.
Crazy.
That's just not the way the system is supposed to work. Now, the senator's argument is that, well, if he did it unilaterally, you just get the amnesty, whereas in this bill you get all sorts of other good security measures. Right. And the sad fact is a lot of the security measures won't happen because in the bill the amnesty, the initial legalization, happens before anything else, therefore creating no political incentive for the other side and various other players to actually go along and implement those security measures.
No, absolutely, and you wrote a piece. Actually, there was an editorial at National Review Online today by you about about why the House should not go to conference. We had Charles Schumer, and anytime Charles Schumer says anything positive about the Republicans or gives them advice on how they could win back the presidency, you run in the other direction. And he recently said, I think it was last week, we played the soundbite, that he's all right if the House wants to do it in piecemeal. He's all for it and go in a conference. So the Senate will get most of what they had passed in their bill, and he seems all pleased and all happy. And whenever that happens, you do have to run the other way. And you said no conference, don't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Now, at National Review, we support incremental measures, and we do think there are reforms we need to make to the immigration system. But the reason Schumer is all of a sudden changing his tune, I mean, just weeks or months ago, he was saying there's no way anything could pass that's not a comprehensive bill, is clearly because he foresees the possibility of just getting something out of the House that could go to a House-Senate conference where conservatives would lose control of the process, and you could get a version of the Gang of Eight bill into the House, and perhaps even on the House floor, where you'd have to have a vote, and it could pass with 50, 60 Republicans and almost all the Democrats, and that would be a nightmare scenario. So we're urging conservatives to try to extract from John Boehner a blood oath commitment that he'll oppose any conference committee. Yeah, no, absolutely, and as you point out, this is a lot different than Obamacare, which we'll get to in a second, and you wrote a piece on that yesterday. And, Obamacare, the debate basically right now is, do we defund it or do the Republicans defund it and then risk a government shutdown? I'm not saying they will have shut down the government, but risk a government shutdown and then fight the publicity war over that. But here, with immigration reform, as you say in your piece at the end, Boehner has the power to just say no, and that'll be it. Yeah, that's all he has to do. And we're, as we say in the editorial, we're not as tough on Boehner as some of our friends are on the right, because we realize he's in a tough circumstance. He only controls, half the legislative branch in a town dominated by Democrats, and some of these fiscal fights are just kind of inherently tilted against Republicans, like the fiscal cliff at the end of last year. But this is easy. All he has to do is say is no, and it's the right thing to say no, and we're going to keep pounding on him to say no. Do you think he will say no? I don't think he wants in his heart of hearts to say no. I think, he said after the 2012 election that we need to deal with this problem comprehensively. He said on Face the Nation a couple of weeks ago that it's just his role to be a facilitator, and he's not going to say what his position is. Right, I remember that, and, that's a key sign, because it's very easy if you oppose it just to say, yeah, I oppose it. You'd only want to kind of hide your view if you basically support it and have a conference that doesn't. So I'm very nervous that there are just a lot of powerful people, a lot of rich people who want this thing to happen and will try to do it by hook or crook. Yeah. All right, we're talking to Rich Lowry, editor of National Review, author of Lincoln Unbound, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let's move on to what you wrote about yesterday, what Obama can't admit. And, we hear all the negatives. Like today, Lisa Myers, NBC, did an extensive report on how businesses, all kinds of businesses, colleges, universities, unions are cutting hours. Union shops are cutting hours because of the fact that they don't want to pay the Obamacare. We know the story by now. And, of course, the White House comment on it was, oh, it's anecdotal. It's not really happening. Don't believe your lying eyes. Well, you basically asked the question starting your piece, do you believe the president or your lying insurance premium? Because he keeps telling us everything is going down, down, down. Yeah. It's something he said from the very beginning when he was a presidential candidate. He said it during the debate over the bill, and he's still saying it now. He said it last week in his press conference that insurance is going to be much cheaper, basically, for everyone. And it's just not true. It may be cheaper for some people, particularly older and less healthy people, but young, healthy people are going to see their premiums go up, and we're seeing the reports all around the country. It's very complicated. It could depend sort of county by county in some cases. In a state like New York, you actually might not see much in the way of increases because New York already has these kind of regulations on insurance, but in places that don't have them yet, you can see the premiums go up, and that's just something the president can't admit, and it's just another way this bill is not what it was portrayed as being, and another way the implementation is not going the way it was advertised.
Well, where do you fall then? Having said that, and this is a major problem that you write about and address, but it's just one of many, many, many. And of course, we've seen the picking and choosing of what to implement and what to delay because it's not working, and they want people to start signing up in October. And of course, there's been all kinds of reports that the IT people are saying that it's not going to be secure when you do sign up and give your personal information. I mean, it's a disaster, train wreck, whatever you want to call it, waiting to happen. So can the Republicans, if they decide to unite somehow, can they say, we're not going to fund this part and that part, or maybe all of it, whatever, and we're not shutting the government down. We're saving the country from this monstrosity. And if the Democrats and President Obama insist on forcing this monstrosity upon us, then they're shutting the government down over it. I mean, could that possibly work?
I don't think so. One, because you're not going to have united Republicans. Latest is today Ron Johnson, who's no one's softy on fiscal matters on Obamacare. One of the reasons he got elected was he was so stalwart against it up there in Wisconsin. He says he doesn't support this strategy, and I think he's probably right about that. Republicans, it's very difficult for them to win shutdown fights because, one, people are kind of primed to believe Republicans are the ones who want to shut down government rather than Democrats, just given what Republicans believe. And two, you already have Republicans on the record, some of them saying, we're going to shut down the government to defund Obamacare. So if there is a shutdown, those quotes will be flagged all over the place, and it's just very unlikely that you're going to see Democrats so uniformly blame for a shutdown that they're going to buckle and say, okay, it's all over for our the initiative we're proudest of in the last 30 or 40 years. It's just never going to happen, unfortunately.
All right. So what this is going to result in then? I mean, in the 14 elections, I mean, in the the midterm elections, I'm sure most incumbent Republicans will win, but I'm sure there'll be some who will have challenges, and I'm sure there are some that might get voted out. But down the road, going into 2016. I just think the conservative base, is going to be extremely disappointed and frustrated, and just not come out, which is some of which we saw a lot of, with Romney. And it's going to be worse because here they're going to say, they're going to be a year or two into Obamacare already, and they're going to say, what good did it do me to have a Republican House or to vote for my Tea Party candidate, or hear the promises that we won't let Obamacare come? I mean, you got a base out there that's going to be severely disappointed.
Yeah, well, that would be if that's the attitude, and I really don't believe it will be. But if it is, that'd be extremely short-sighted, because the only way you're going to get rid of the law is you have a Republican House, Republican Senate, and a Republican president. And after next year, maybe we will.
Well, what could they do then? Just say no more Obamacare, and once it's in place for 2 years?
Then you can genuinely repeal it and have a president sign it. The problem is, the House has voted over and over again to repeal it, but it's never going to happen with a Democratic Senate and a Democratic president. So it's not that the will's not there, and unfortunately, there's no magic bullet. There's no cute procedural fight that's going to allow you to get the Democrats to agree to defund it or repeal it. It's just not going to happen.
All right, Rich. Interesting conversation. No, I mean, I still think they should take a stand, because if they don't take a stand on this, the biggest disaster waiting to hit this country in quite a while, then I don't know when they're going to take a stand. But anyway, I understand the other line of thought and your line of thought, and I appreciate you coming out. Look forward to the next time.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
Take care. That's Rich Lowry, ladies and gentlemen, editor of National Review and author of Lincoln Unbound, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. I respect Rich Lowry tremendously, and I respect his point of view. I disagree with his point of view. And he may be right. There may be quotes out there from some Republicans who say we're willing to shut down the government. And I was just watching, talking to Rich. I'm watching all the cable stations, and one of the channels had on. Guess what they had on? Republicans, deciding whether or not to shut down the government over health care. The Republicans would not be shutting down the government. I mean, that's just the truth. That you can't shut down the government alone. I mean, if you turn it around and say, well, if the Republicans were united, let's say the Republicans were united and they were going to defund Obamacare, well, then the headline could read, Democrats have to decide whether to shut down the government over the defunding of Obamacare, right? That would be just as legitimate. But you're never going to hear that. And that just shows the danger that we all live with. And that's the mainstream media. That's the mainstream media dictating the agenda, dictating the headlines, dictating the scenario. It's just, it's not right. But it takes a leadership and a party willing to stand up and say, I'm sorry, what I'm saying right now. And I don't think this party and this leadership of this party has the will, has the desire, has the ability to do it. I just don't. All right, folks, when we come back, Steve Lonegan, he won the Republican primary yesterday in New Jersey. He's running for the U.S. Senate to replace Frank Lautenberg against Cory Booker, the mayor of Newark, who won the Democratic primary yesterday. So you'll hear from Steve Lonegan when we continue on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV.
The Steve Malzberg Show.
3 a.m. and you're up again for the third time. It's not just affecting your sleep, it's interrupting your daily life. Frequent trips to the bathroom due to an aging prostate is a common concern, but you can now do something about it with Prostate Revive. Doctor-formulated Prostate Revive is an all-natural dietary supplement packed with 15 powerful ingredients, focused on improving prostate health by targeting the two main sources of prostate concerns, rogue testosterone and inflammation. And now, in this limited time radio offer, you can try Prostate Revive absolutely free. That's a free bottle, a 30-day supply of Prostate Revive, risk-free. Plus, if you call right now, you'll also receive our free report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Prostate. Call now for details on getting your free bottle, plus our doctor's report. Call 1-800-659-REVIVE. That's 1-800-659-REVIVE. Don't be a victim of an aging prostate. Start getting the sleep you need and get your life back with Prostate Revive. Claim your risk-free bottle now at 1-800-659-REVIVE.
Attention hip implant patients. Are you in constant pain? Have you received a letter from your doctor about your implant? Have you had or need a revision surgery? Do you have high levels of metal, chromium, or cobalt in your blood? Over 90,000 hip implant devices have been recalled due to defects and failures resulting in revision or replacement surgery. If you have a recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920 to see if your implant is affected by the recalls. If you or a loved one has a defective or recalled hip implant, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-460-0920. That's 800-460-0920. Protect your legal rights today. Call 800-460-0920. This is an advertisement, not valid in all states. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. iLawsuit.com is an advertising group that represents lawyers advertising their services and is a free matching service for consumers. It is not a law firm or lawyer referral service.
Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect, with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts. And some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price by going now to Obamacare911.com. Obamacare911.com. That's Obamacare911.com. Hi, this is Mike Reagan. Folks ask me, what would Ronald Reagan do if he were with us today? I believe the first thing he'd do is stop Obamacare. Already it's in effect, with higher taxes, hidden fees, skyrocketing insurance rates, big Medicare cuts, and some insurance plans are hit with a 40% tax. Protect yourself by getting the Obamacare Survival Guide. It's already a #1 New York Times bestseller. Newsmax says it's the best guide to the new law, giving you the strategies, tips, and loopholes you need to know. If you're insured on Medicare, a business owner, a medical professional, just about anyone, you need this book. Get the #1 bestseller, The Obamacare Survival Guide, at bookstores everywhere. Or get our special $4.95 offer and save $15 off the cover price.
Scroll down now to claim your copy of Obamacare Survival Guide for the special internet offer of only $4.95.
In 2013, half of your friends, family, and neighbors may lose their jobs, and you may be forced to watch helplessly as you are robbed of 90% of your life savings, all while your home's value is eradicated. Controversial economist Robert Wiedemer believes we will soon stare down a secret crisis that will rival the Great Depression. It was Wiedemer's 2005 book, America's Bubble Economy, that warned of coming meltdowns in our housing and stock markets. Washington did not heed his call, and folks on Main Street lost $50 trillion from the recession. His New York Times best-selling book, Aftershock, predicted our federal debt and dollar would be the next bubbles to burst. And now Robert Wiedemer has released a startling video with shocking evidence the powers that be have tried to ban. But that hasn't stopped 50 million people from getting the truth. Join us at Aftershock2013.com. Aftershock2013.com.
Microphones hot. Satellite link established. Studio lights illuminated. Cameras rolling. Audio and video encoders firing ones and zeros. Internet stream is streaming. The most technology advanced radio show is on the air. Here's the captain of this enterprise, Steve Malzberg.
But I want to tell you tonight, in no uncertain terms and with clarity, how we're going to win an election on October 16, 2013, and deliver the first Republican U.S. Senator in New Jersey in 42 years.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the voice and the words of Steve Lonegan, who yesterday won the Republican primary for the U.S. Senate seat from the state of New Jersey. And he will go against Cory Booker, who won the Democratic primary. But joining us right now is Mayor Steve Lonegan, former mayor of Bogota, New Jersey. Hello, sir.
Hi, Steve. It's great to be with you. Thank you.
Congratulations, my friend.
Well, it's exhilarating, and I'm excited about the next 63 days as we sprint towards this historic general election.
Okay, you won overwhelmingly on the Republican side. First, talk about your victory and then what it means going forward.
Well, the victory was terrific. I mean, we had a lot of people out working hard to turn out the vote. Of course, the numbers were much bigger than people expected, which is really a validation of my platform and the fact that I have the whole Republican Party behind me in this race, from Governor Christie right down to local mayors, councilmen, and most important, the grassroots. Cory Booker, on the other hand, has been anointed as the next state senator by the Hollywood elite and those Silicon Valley moguls who have descended from their penthouse apartments at the Bel Air Hotel in the hills of Hollywood to anoint the next U.S. senator from New Jersey. Steve, the problem is California doesn't need a third senator. New Jersey needs a senator committed to this state, and that's going to be me.
Okay, so Chris Christie is going to, you believe actively, is he going to campaign with you?
Yes, absolutely. He called me last night, congratulated me on a great victory, said let's talk tomorrow, that being today, about how we're going to work together. I've actually been going back and forth with his campaign manager. Seeing text messages, it's been a brutal day. But no, the governor has a great opportunity here to be a real leader and help to deliver the first Republican U.S. Senator in 42 years in an election that's going to determine the tone of the upcoming U.S. Senate races for the whole country next year.
All right, now let's talk about Cory Booker. You know what strikes me, and you're not surprised, it's the same old equal work for equal pay, we need better education, all this same old meaningless rhetoric, nonsense, empty words. In Newark, as mayor of Newark, I mean, we need to examine his record.
Yeah, no, look, it's all shallow rhetoric. This is the clearest line in the sand election between a far left-wing liberal and a conservative the state's ever seen. I mean, you couldn't ask for more clear. Cory Booker is a devotee. He worships at the altar of big government. He wants more government spending, more entitlement programs, more debt. I want limited government. I want to cut spending, stop the debt, and unleash the animal spirits of American ingenuity. This guy, he announced in his speech last night the three biggest issues that he sees in this race: gay marriage, taxpayer-funded abortions, and raising the minimum wage to $10.15 an hour. $10.15 an hour. If you raise the minimum wage to $10.15 an hour, every small business in New Jersey just shutter their windows, lock their doors, and go home. It's over. I mean, this guy is just so far left-wing.
He's also...
I'm looking forward to an all-out debate over capitalism versus socialism, over big government versus limited government, over individual liberty versus sacrificing those liberties for government.
Steve,
that's what this is.
Steve, he also called you a flamethrower. I think I'm getting the quote right. He said, "I'll meet those flames with cool water." Yeah, he was full again with the rhetorical lines last night, but basically saying that you've attacked him, but he's not going to take the bait. He's not going to attack you back. He's going to just give good ideas and offer to sit down and be nice and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If socialism's a good idea, go for it. He also said that, but don't underestimate it. He sharpens his teeth in Newark, so I don't know if he intends to bite me or what.
That's a good line. Will Cory Booker bite me? We're talking to Steve Lonegan, the Republican nominee for the U.S. Senate here on the Steve Malzberg Show from the state of New Jersey, of course. Let me ask you about a referendum of sorts on Obama. Is this a referendum on Obama, and can you win in New Jersey at this point, do you believe, by making it a referendum on Obama?
I am making it a referendum on Obamacare, on Obama's economic policies, on Obama's massive explosion of debt and spending, over the Common Core education intrusion into the education of our children. I'm putting all these things on the table. New Jersey is going to be the battleground over the future of the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, and individual liberty. And the whole country is going to watch this race. So, yes, this is going to be an unabashed conservative running on our principles, and I'm not backing off, not 1 inch. And I believe that's how we mobilize our base, Steve. That's how we develop real energy, bring focus to the issues, and win this election.
All right, and it's what's the website?
Lonegan for Senate, Lonegan. And Steve, I have to raise a lot of money. Booker had Oprah Winfrey in. The other night he had the star from Desperate Housewives, parading around. All these Hollywood cult figures. But, he can bring in the star from Desperate Housewives, but that's not going to help with the desperate situation New Jersey taxpayers are in.
Are you going to get support from the Republican Senatorial Committee nationally?
Yeah, I expect support from everybody.
Okay, good.
Look, everybody is in the mix. And by the way, thanks to guys like you on the radio talking about this race and clarifying how important these issues really are. As people wake up and say, wait a minute, the whole country is going to watch this referendum vote on Obamacare, on the Common Core, over the explosion of government, over the Bill of Rights. I think it's wait, we got to play in this race. We have to.
All right, Steve, congratulations again. We'll speak to you often as this progresses.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Steve Lonegan, ladies and gentlemen, former Mayor Bogota, New Jersey. He's the Republican nominee for the U.S. Senate from the state of New Jersey, taking on Cory Booker. It is going to be interesting. And I got to tell you, in a debate, you are going to see content, quality, ideas, concrete. A little firebrand involved in there, too. He's got a personality. He's got opinions. He's fiery. He's passionate. And you're going to hear on the other side just what you've been hearing. Hi, I'm Cory Booker. We need equal work for equal pay. We need to better education. We need to treat our teachers like the professionals they are. The same stuff that Obama said 6 years ago and that presidential candidate said 4 years before that and 4 years before that. Same empty rhetoric. We'll come back, 855-777-9660 on the Steve Malzberg Show.